How do you do your cost calculations from the client side? So the design should not be such that even Uber goes bankrupt.
But I work on my gut. I tell point blank, if you want all this stuff, it's going to cost you so much. What works in India does not work in New York. So I work on that gut.
Lots of HNIs still not having wealth management services as a support mechanism to the wealth they have earned and which needs to get multiplied. What is lacking?
Definitely is that they have been missold a lot of times. Wouldn't want to classify, but a lot of bankers who have their own targets to sell, and they would sell a product which they want to sell, not which is good for the other person.
So how do you balance your creative communication in such a controlled, structured environment?
The pharma industry and the medical industry comes with its guidelines and what we call as medico marketing. I think creativity also thrives when there is a controlled environment. So it brings together a lot more discipline into the way you work. Creativity is always appreciated because it kind of sticks. So whenever you do a campaign, your main idea is, will it stick in the mind of the customer?
What are the type of disputes that are on the rise and what are the type of solutions that the clients opt for? I would also like to understand the clarification between a court case and an arbitration process.
We will not go to court and stand in queue. We'll appoint a private qualified professional who will adjudicate our dispute part, and we'll have it resolved in private setup.
Hi friends, this is Agnilo Rajesh here and welcome back again to the Table Talks at Santé. It's very interesting conversations over some lovely food at Santé Spa Cuisine. The food over here is really known for the way it is made. So we are going to have a multi-course early dinner with some very interesting friends, people from various industries. We have got the advertising industry specializing in pharma. We have got from the wealth creation background, a chartered accountant. We have got a law professional and we have got a design professional. They are all stalwarts in their line of work. You'll explore them as they start sharing their knowledge and experiences. We are going to have a very diversified conversation today, and I'm sure you also have questions to be asked to these people. You can post them on the content. When you see the content, you can post them in the comments, and I'm sure they will get back to you as well. So before we begin and before the food gets served, we already have got our very unique beverages on our tables. This is charcoal, activated charcoal and coconut milk drink, some unique concept, and which I'm going to be tasting for the first time. But before we start, I would like to request my guests to start introducing themselves in brief so that the right information gets carried on. So, Alim.
Thank you. My name is Alim. I am an advertising guy. I run an agency called Synapse and Mumbai born, and I love dogs.
Samir.
Yeah, hi. So I am Samir Arora. I run a firm called ATMS. I have been scaling the accounting, taxation, wealth firm for the last 28 years. I believe people together grow together. So that's the motto with which I work. Love trekking in the Himalayas and love talking to people on new ideas in wealth creation.
Excellent. Yes, Rahul.
Hi, my name is Rahul Hingmere. I am a lawyer, as sir introduced, and I have a law firm called Viz Legis Law Practice. We are in multiple cities across India. Apart from law, I also have a very keen interest in startup ecosystem. So I'm co-founder of another company called Early Seed Ventures, which is helping founders and investors to come together to create meaningful projects which can support the economy of India. And in terms of passion, I also have dogs and cats, and I love traveling, and I am enthusiastic in Formula One racing. I follow them as much as possible, and I'm also an author of 2 books. One is relating to real estate and another one is relating to Europe and India's free trade agreement. And I'm looking forward to this podcast to get more engaging.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Yes, Bobby.
Hi, this is architect Bobby Mukherjee. The name of my company is Bobby Mukherjee Architects. I operate out of 3 cities as of now. It's Bombay, Milan, Italy, and in Delhi. And we specialize in uber luxury projects. And when it comes to the hospitality space, we are market leaders in doing luxury projects across the country, and also a lot of work internationally now. And we design for all the big brands, hospitality brands in the world. And we also do high-end real estate for many of the big boys in the industry. Been doing it for the last 32 years. And diverse kind of projects from different ends of the country, around the world, different geographic conditions, different cultural locations, and it's very enjoyable. My passion is to travel and interact with new cultures, and when work takes me to all these places, I have a great time. So my work and my hobbies and all, it's all mixed up together. So there's not much left in terms of a hobby. The one thing that I do like is nature and plants and animals, and I have like 15 aquariums, 15 fish tanks, and different kinds of animals, birds, dogs, cats, and turtles, tortoises, and I've also had lots of other pets in the past that I can't keep because of our
Laws.
excessive urbanization in our country.
Are you friends with Bharat Dabholkar?
No.
He almost lives in a zoo.
Yeah. That was my childhood dream. That I'll have a big, massive cage with all these animals, and the middle of that will be my workspace.
So excellent. Welcome on board, guys, and let's have a nice conversations together. And the present of any one of us is always connected to our past, and the combination of the past and the present always goes to define our future. So we all have got very interesting past. I've all read the content about each one of you, and a lot of questions are going to be connected with that. So Rahul, my first question goes to you on how has your childhood shaped your decisions of your youth and the future? Like your parents, both are social minded. Your mom is into the education sector. She's also into social services. Your dad has also been actively involved in, to a certain extent, law enforcement in a particular way for MSRTC. So was that childhood connected to the profession that you chose and built your career on?
Certainly, sir, because the manner in which I was exposed to certain acts, be it education sector, because we have education society which my mother founded. It's called Bhagyodaya Bahudeshya Shikshan Sanstha. That is for underprivileged children, and that is in one district right now called Nanded. So right from its early days that I was witness to, I could see how education plays important role, how people are struggling for even basic access to education and clothing and medical aspects. So that kind of always kept me grounded also, and made me understand that whatever you are having, it's a luxury. Although we come from a very typical middle class background to go with, but it was still a luxury for me because the privileges that I was getting, it was not accessible and available for many of them. Similar to that, my father's journey with MSRTC for over a period of 35-40 years, he committed to one organization. That also gave me a very defining principle that you have to have that sort of vision, commitment, and loyalty towards things that you opt for. As a lawyer, I got a lot of learnings from these two different approaches, and whenever I take up any mandate, any assignment, or any relationship that way, I try to stay true to it to the fullest extent. I remain loyal to it in absolute sense, so that 0% guilt is my objective for anything that I'm doing. And that has helped me to make some good relationships. I moved to the city in 2011. So from 2011 to 2026, and if I'm on the table of these kind of entrepreneurs and business owners, I think I have achieved great things in my life, and 4 mentors of mine are here today. So I couldn't have asked for anything better, and that is how I've been, getting the important inputs, success, or the achievements that I can call it for.
Excellent, excellent. So, Bobby, they say that creativity is a language. It's a mode of communicating to the world. And being one of the most renowned architects, not only from this part of the world, but across the world, having done mega projects and also having the presence in the design capital of the world, that is Milan. Has your childhood and has your parenting always been reflecting in your work, because both your parents were creative people, artists by nature, and they were stage artists. Your dad is 80 plus today, and even now he's actively involved in stage acting, is what I read about you. So has that been a reflection on the quality, the type, and the creativity that you do in your profession?
Big time. Big time.
You never took to theatre, but you took to the
I come from
drawing board.
I came from a background of a whole lineage of artists and intellectuals and all forms of art. Okay? And it's not just theatre, visual art, singing, painting, craft, writing, poetry, Sanskrit scholars. And in a family, I realized that your artistic sensibilities manifest in various forms. As a child, I did lots of theatre with my mom and dad. I also did many ad films, like 27 ad films. And but I had a problem with memorizing scripts. My dad would have been most happy if I did follow his footsteps and got into showbiz. We had many family members who were well-known people in the
Mukherjee is a very popular surname anyways.
in the showbiz
In the
industry,
showbiz industry, yeah.
extended family members, many of them. But I did not take advantage of that because I just realized that I didn't have the aptitude for memorizing scripts. Like they do it effortlessly. They read the script 3 times and they're able to blur it out on the stage for the next 2 hours, non-stop. And for me, reading one page, because I had problems, I had dyslexia and other stuff, so I had a visual memory. I was good at drawing, and my parents realized that don't pressurize into getting into this kind of stuff. My dad and mom, especially dad, on Sunday mornings took me to a whole lot of art competitions. In those days, whatever, there were lot more than nowadays, yeah. And invariably, I won them. I always came back with gold, silver, and stuff and all, and that really helped me or inspired me to stick to the artistic profession of drawing, painting, and stuff. I'm still a painter right now. That's my other hobby that I still try to practice, but don't get enough time for that. But when I reached my 10th and 12th grade, I realized that I do want to follow a creative pursuit in terms of visual arts, but I didn't have the guts to probably become a fine artist, because I know of all the stories of Van Gogh and others who died paupers. Even Mr. Hussain, he became famous only after the age of 70 or something.
Last phase of his life.
Exactly. I didn't want to be in that. I like certain luxuries in life and want to sleep in a comfortable house and bed. And
so instead of by-hearting text, you took the pictorial route.
Yeah, but so then I chose the design field, which is related, but not as a pure art form. And then this is a good combination of science, art, practicality. And I realized that this is a much bigger canvas to paint on, where you are greatly influencing the lives of the people who use and inhabit these spaces in a much larger scale.
So the structures that you design speak forever, rather than just picking up a paragraph and speaking over a few minutes.
I feel sad about the fact that our construction technology now is about concrete and stuff. People think of Mahal Banaro, it's going to be there for posterity, but you're wrong. Those temples and big monuments and stuff that existed from Egyptian days to the Greek to the Romans are our Indian temples, including a Taj Mahal. It's all built in stone. Our present stuff is more like an anthill, it's made in concrete, which has a lifespan of max 150 years.
Because of because of the needs of mass needs of the population then and the population now.
Yeah. So I feel sad about the fact that I was very excited about creating stuff that's going to stay for posterity, but it's not going to happen unless I design a city or something. Then different civilizations or different will come and settle there over the centuries. But
isn't it funny that once upon a time poor people lived in stone houses, and now rich people want to buy stones and make their houses? Mass need can be done only by bricks and cement and all those other materials.
Exactly.
So Alim, unity in diversity is what politicians discuss, but they don't live it. You live it.
Correct.
And you're not alone. I live it too.
Yeah.
So Alim comes with a background where his father was a Muslim and his mom is a Christian.
Yeah, and my wife is Jain.
And your wife is Jain. Oh, okay. So let me give you a counter. So my father is a Marathi Christian, my mother is a Hindu Tamilian, and my wife is a Parsi Muslim.
I'll beat you again. My first child was a Labrador.
You beat me to that. So I've got a very dear friend, Prema Sagar. She owns one of the largest PR organizations of this country, partner with Mast and Bus Taylor. She's the wife of a very prominent law firm, lawyer, Jyoti, J. Sagar and Associates, so Jyoti Sagar. So when I told her about this introduction, she told me that is nothing. Let me tell you mine. So my mother is Swiss, my father is Sindhi, my son married a Chinese, my daughter married a British. So I said I lose. So this kind of a mixed background, how did it help you to speak to various peoples on various platforms? Like you own a designing firm specialized to the healthcare industry. At the same time, you are also a speaker on the stage. So how does this background help you to communicate to the different sections of the people, whether it is through your form of art, that is creativity in design, or on a stage show?
So I'll take you a few years back, actually multiple years back. I was in the first grade and I had gone to a new school, and it was the first day of my school. And in the third, period or lecture, there's a class for Christian boys which is called religion,
Yeah.
and a class for non-Christian boys called value education. So imagine a 5-year-old kid goes up to the teacher and says, "Which one do I go for?" And she says, what, why did you ask me that question? I said, because I go to church every Sunday. So then she said, so then go to this thing. So I said, but my dad's a Muslim. So then she says, hold on. It takes a minute and she tells me, dad's a Muslim, then you stay in value education. That's the first time I realized that, oh my God, this is a big deal.
Big classification.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that you classify children.
Generally at that age, teachers confuse the child.
Yeah, exactly.
You did the reverse.
Yeah, exactly. Now that I realize. But I also realized that this is an advantage, because now I didn't need to be slotted in any. I could go wherever I wanted, because Sundays I was Christian and Monday to Friday I was a Muslim because of school. So, and Saturday was my free day. But I realized that this was an advantage, and I realized I could speak to anyone. I didn't need to be slotted in a category, and that helped me even today. It's very funny, today also I've known people for 5 years, 7 years, and I can never slot them that, oh, this is a Maharashtrian, or this is a South Indian, or this is a Marwadi. It doesn't come in my filter of things. So I never, categorize people saying that, hey, you're this.
And you can fit in any category.
I can fit in any category.
That flexibility is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I only get worried that when it's riots time, then which side to tell, that will take a little while.
So, Agnello Rajesh, my full name, is the reason for mixed parentage. Agnello is from my dad's side and Rajesh is from my mom's side. Because my aunties argued with my mom saying that we also want to have a Hindu name.
Okay.
And in the 70s, Rajesh Khanna was a superstar.
Okay.
So it became Agnello Rajesh.
Oh.
So when I became sensible in life, I told my aunties, thank God Rajesh Khanna was a superstar and not Kesto Mukherjee. Otherwise, I would have been Agnello Kesto. Now that name used to be heavy in the school. It's a tongue twister. But when digital world began, I was the luckiest guy, because AgnelloRajesh.com available. AgnelloRajesh@gmail.com available. Anything that I applied for was available. Otherwise, people are having like Rahul, Hingmire, 2, 3, 4, 5, some numbers. So what is in life, many a times what becomes visible as a disadvantage, you might never realize when it has become an advantage. So I had Agnello Rajesh Athaide. The only time that I used to stand first was in my roll number. Nobody could beat me at that. So, Samir, accounting, something which is very interesting, the backbone of every business. Like all of us need that kind of support. You need to love numbers, you need to love accounts, you need to love the tax laws. What was your inclination towards this profession, and was your childhood or was your family background responsible for you to choose this line of activity?
So one thing was that, I was good at studies. And at that point of time when I was doing my 10th standard, everybody felt that a person who is good at studies, and that time I got some 85% plus marks, should go in science, because that's how education was slotted that way. That people who are good in studies go to science, and people who don't want to do much will go in commerce, and arts is somebody who doesn't get anything. So that time, but I going back to my childhood, I had seen that my dad had tried few businesses which had not done well, and somewhere I wanted to do business. So I asked people around, if I want to do business, what is it that I should do? Because in my in the entire family, everybody was generally business and nobody had studied beyond 12th standard, or maximum there was a cousin who had done his graduation. So there was no education as a background in the family. So people told that if you want to do business, you should go in commerce. So that's how I landed, because I was getting good marks. The option to get a Podar college was available for me, which was considered one of the best commerce classes that time, college that time. And then I got into Podar. Then I made some good friends there. So I used to be a first bencher in my school, again a roll number 1 because of Aurora. And suddenly when I went to Podar, I suddenly became a last bencher. Because I somehow started enjoying the freedom of the college. I wanted to be in organizing. I wanted to be out there doing everything. And while Podar, everybody keeps studying as well. So I made some good friends in the first couple of years. After the 12th standard, I found that everybody in my college wanted to do some education because Podar is considered to be a factory for chartered accountants. So all my friends told that we are going and doing chartered accountancy course. So I went back to my family and told that I don't want to lose my friends. They're good friends. They are doing CA. Can I also do? So they were, okay, if you want to do, you do it. So that's how I went into chartered accountancy. There was nothing from the family, or there was no motive that someday I will become a chartered accountant. So I went with my friends, registered for chartered accountancy. Again, for my articleship, similar, everybody had some parent contacts, and that time there should be lawyers who used to file return for my father, and we never knew chartered accountants. So for me to get articleship, which is important in my training, what I had done was, that time we used to have people on the roadside who used to be typists. So I dictated my biodata to him. He got me a biodata. I took Xeroxes, and then I used to see every board where I could find a chartered accountant and ask whether I could get an articleship there. So from there to being an article in the firm and then being a partner has been my journey. But again, that story of wanting to be an entrepreneur stayed with me. So I was fortunate to have cleared my CA in my first attempt. So at 21, I was a chartered accountant. But being so early...
Wow, that is one of the youngest chartered accountants ever.
Yeah, so...
I have never met anybody who was chartered accountant at 21.
So maybe, those friend circle, everybody was studying, no option study, and then maybe I got cleared. But then, being a CA at such an early age also had a little sense of disadvantage. I was not matured in my mind in terms of why, because I never knew why I did CA. All my friends knew they wanted to be in corporate, somebody wanted to be in investment banking, somebody wanted to be in some business. So I again went back and thought, okay, why is it that I wanted to do CA? So I remembered I always wanted to be in entrepreneurship, right? So what is it that I would do? So I remember a train journey with my principal, with whom I did my articleship that time. And between Masjid's Bandar and VT station, the train stopped generally because there was no vacant platform to go there. And he asked me, what is it that you want to do in life? So I told, I want to do something on my own. So what will you do something on your own? You have learned only this. So I thought, then I'll do practice. So he's telling, if you want to do practice, why do you want to start outside? Why don't you come and join us? I'll give you a few clients which you're already handling. And then if you see, you can build something. So this has been the journey. Just started by chance and just on a train journey.
Excellent. So once upon a time, people had only one Eklavya as their gurus. And today, thanks to the digital world again, you can have so many Eklavyas. Like, for example, I love and admire people like Anand Mahindra, Mukesh Ambani, Ratan Tata, Steve Jobs. Richard Branson is always interesting to me because I love to travel his route. And Richard Branson operates more than 500 companies. Wow. And for the first time, I read the word dyslexia and it caught my attention. And today, for the second time, I know of somebody who has dyslexia, and that's Bobby. And he doesn't hide it. He's quite vocal about it. So I want to understand from you, Bobby, how has this been an advantage to you in the career that you have built so robustly? You started young, just like him. You started even when you didn't finish your education, you were already working. So how did dyslexia support your creative angle in life?
I have another issue also.
Does it match with Richard Branson?
I don't know, but that's now it's got a lot more aware. People know, but it's ADHD, or also called ADD.
You're not alone.
It took me...
I'm an ADHD.
Yeah, okay. I can tell. I can tell when I meet someone else, right? Yeah. We have certain traits, the way we behave.
So, for the audience to understand, ADHD means attention deficit hyperactive disorder. And that people used to consider it as a weakness, but we consider it as a very strong strength.
So now I realize it's a big strength. But during my school days, I gave nightmares to my mom because in every school report card, they say that, your son's just not interested in anything that's going on in class. He's always looking outside, looking at the nature, bird, crows, pigeons outside the window. He's not listening to this. And I just went organically doing this. I was good at art and I was bad at everything else. So you see, the advantage is that I could only do things that I enjoyed. And art and biology were the only two subjects that I thoroughly enjoyed, came effortlessly to me. And all the others, I was literally nearly a zero. So, so I say in a hyper focus, it's so you focusing on things that you like doing, and only it's in that I can work like a maniac. I can work 18 hours a day doing that. So when I started, that's when I realized that I'm really enjoying this so much. And put in all the energies and towards doing that, and one thing led to another, and and because you have dyslexia and this, right, your hyper focus is to such an extent that you are willing to take extreme risks, putting aside everything. My story of Ambi Valley, I gave 1 year of my life without earning a single penny, but just with the dream of knowing that if I work really hard on this, I will win it. And I won it. I was 28 then, and it was, I think, one of the world's or the country's largest project ever.
Largest for sure in the country,
Yeah.
but one of the largest in the world as well.
Yeah,
10,000 acres.
10,000 acres
Yeah.
of urban planning, and I managed to
And difficult terrain, difficult
yes,
contour.
Yes. So like that. If I didn't have this, I don't like. If I was bogged down by being practical and being following the rules of the game, I would not have, because when I presented, my quantum of work was 500% more than all the other competitors, all the American firms. And of course, I had to get another firm who partnered with me and convincing them, me being a kid, convincing a 60-year-old like big daddies in the business to partner and doing that. So that came about with a certain amount of obsession and madness to do that, And so now, and also the other thing that I work, I'm like so focused in that, and nothing else interests me. So so you're not distracted by other things in this world and all that people have something called a work-life balance and all.
So what people generally
doesn't
misunderstand
work
as
for
a
me.
weakness has been your strength, because
Yeah.
that's the reason you give this kind of a focus and the output that you're used to now.
Like, I can't read, right? When it comes to words, texts, and I'm not able to read much. Everything is visual. So I'm not wasting time in reading books and
Absolutely.
novels and other things, because I'm just concentrating on what I enjoy doing.
So for you, it's really true. A picture speaks 1,000 words, and you then created many pictures like that
Yeah.
in painting as well as in creating great architecture.
So our work is about creating entire surroundings also.
Yeah.
Right? So the nature, my love for nature, plants, trees, nature, paintings, art, volumes, lighting. My theatre background really helped.
For the lighting part.
Lighting. I did
Yes.
not realize that.
Yes.
Because when we started doing I didn't trust any of the lighting designers. We did the lighting on my own, because I thought my lighting is better than the rest. So I'll do my own lighting for my projects. And when they start getting done
And that started becoming a highlight of your project.
and yeah, it started looking so atmospheric, so sexy, that also really helped. And when I look back and think, it's because of the theatre background, because I has to help dad in doing all the sets and the stage lighting and all that stuff. So it helped directly and indirectly. So
Excellent. So all good for that.
yeah, every experience helps in life. There's no experience that goes waste.
Absolutely. So sports also plays a part. The sports that we played in the past also plays a part of our present and the future. And Rahul was a judo karate expert.
Whoa.
Is that the reason you became a lawyer? And do you show those skills in the courtroom at times?
Sir, judo was something that as a engagement or co-curricular activity, my parents decided to put me in. But that discipline, I still remember when I was in 3rd or 4th standard, we used to do early morning trainings. My mother used to wake me up at 4:30, 5 a.m. and used to have very limited diet and running around and all. That still stays with me as a discipline part. And many a times that I travel alone, but I always have my first memory of traveling alone was, 8-9-year-old guy from Aurangabad traveled with bunch of, other athletes and one teacher, and in judo we call them sensei. Shevtekar Sensei was his name. He was in charge of all the kids, and we traveled from Aurangabad to a place called Pune. That time it was very far from Aurangabad, when I'm talking about 92, 93. And the very first Asiad game was happening in Pune, and the infrastructure was still under construction. I remember we were staying in a place which was half built, half in process of building, and going from there to the stadium. Because I was one of the youngest, I was also in charge of carrying glucose water bottle for others. So doing all that, but playing matches, then was able to win tournaments. And when I came back and all the celebrations took place, that time to get to see your photo in newspaper was a big highlight
High,
of your
be high.
achievement. So all that happened, and that kind of stayed with me. And judo is a very sensible sport, so it's not like karate. You don't start hitting each other and throw punches or all. It's about controlling others' movements by not losing the contact with the other person's body. So you do major maneuvers with the contact on their shoulders, with the collars, and you show the strength in a way where you are not actually giving blows. So it's a soft, warfare in that sense. And somewhere in law also we are trying to do that. We don't want to be harsh, we don't want to be cutthroat, but we want to give our response in such a way that it communicates effectively. And for me as a lawyer, it's not always about showing who is better. It's about giving the response, but also trying to achieve what ultimately I am hired for or our firm is retained for. So definitely, sir, that game has stayed with me. Although I had a very
But Rahul, in karate and judo, you can defend the known attacker. In law, how do you defend the attacker whom you don't know? Like it can spring up from anywhere. Like Bobby was just chatting with us and he was telling us that in a property transaction that's happening, almost on the verge of happening, suddenly someone has filed a PIL and the whole proceedings of that transfer of property or the development of that property is stalled. So there is an unknown element which has just come in, and this happens quite often in law. So your judo karate will be great for people that you know, कि you are being attacked from the front. What are your strategies for the unknown people? How do you tackle them? वो कहते हैं ना कहीं पे निगाहें कहीं पे निशाना.
So law has been such a way profession where you always are given judicial precedence. So that way we have enough resource with us from the judges, from the courts, and now with the AI, even clients are coming up with with ready research done for us. So that way we know what to anticipate. Now every transaction, as you been in real estate industry yourself, so you have seen how many stakeholders are involved in one single real estate project, and you have to have clarity and understanding that some or the other one is not going to be happy with you. Someone's expectations are going to change over a period of time. Someone will default in giving or promise actions from their side. So you have to have angles ready. You have to have your guards in place, and you have to take one fight at a time, like how we take one step at a time to deal with the situation. The priority needs to be set as to which one allows you to proceed further and which kind of stops you.
So you have to defend the known opponent. At the same time, you have to also create a defense for an unknown eventuality. That's how a lawyer would be reacting today.
Always in anticipation.
Always in anticipation.
Always play devil's advocate.
Beyond the visible.
And
Beyond the visible.
Yes, and always play devil's advocate to see what is the worst that is likely to happen in every situation.
And create a buffer for that.
Yes.
Or a defense mechanism.
Yes.
Excellent. So Samir, we all work for our wives. But you went too far. You actually did that in real practice. So how is it to work with a colleague who happens to be, or a boss who happens to be your, you can't call her a roommate, your life partner. So how is it, how comfortable is it to operate in the same business which is being operated with your wife or by your wife?
Yeah, so I think when you are very sure of the hierarchy that then there is no problem. So the
I thought you saw the movie Sleeping with the Enemy and you liked it.
So the early you accept the hierarchies, I think the problem gets solved. So I think
you created too much reality around it.
Yeah, but she's
how comfortable or how is it a blessing in disguise? At the same time, how do you manage conflict? Not with the client,
yeah.
with your colleague.
I think personally, jokes apart, it's been the biggest blessing for me. Because when I started my
You're
firm,
saying that with a lot of stress on your face.
yeah, yeah, no, seriously. But when I started my firm, she was the support who looked around for everything other than what revenue brought in. So I was so focused on getting revenue for the firm, the culture that had to be built in the firm, the HR processes that had to be built
So the
in the
back
firm.
end is taken care by her.
No, she took it for till a time the firm scaled. And then 2014, she felt that now the firm is strong enough that we have professionals running the background. Then she started a wealth management business. So fortunately for us, what happened is one of our client, whom I was mentoring or working from the time he started his business, he sold his company when he was 31-year-old, and in more than hundreds of crores of money, that came to him. And so because of this relationship with him, with the family, they thought that it was great that we help him manage the money as well, because he's too young. That's what his father thought. For father, even if the son sells his business for more than 100, 200 crores,
He's still
father
small, too young, immature.
Father called me and told Samir, tu sambhal, theek hai, nahi to ye uda dega. So that's when we thought that, she was already handling wealth for our family. So why not create it like an extension and help our clients the rest to manage? So then that's where she started the vertical, which is now one of the fastest growing verticals for us because of immense amount of wealth getting created. But I think we have a great working relationship. Earlier, we used to have conversations that work shouldn't get spilled to home. But I think now both of us have got used to it. On a dining table, she remembers something, she tells me, I remember. Kids have to point out and tell you all back into work. But now it's become very normal for us.
So the minutes of the day are made on the dining table.
I think our dining table, has a lot of talk on. So my elder son also wants to be an entrepreneur. So, he did some Harvard courses on entrepreneurship, business planning, started his very small venture when he was still in school called Hamari Gullak. So he enjoys this conversation. So he also, and my younger son also wants to understand what happened in office. Who were the new business owners you all met? What was this conversation? What was the business model being discussed? So I think our home has become an extension to our interest. So we don't feel very odd.
So you live in an entrepreneurship school.
Maybe because
Everybody wants to become one.
and also this younger generation sometimes is more exposed and they bring in very, very fresh ideas. They ask questions which are very unconventional, which we would have not thought of.
For sure, you must have confused your parents, so they are repaying the debt.
That's completely right.
So, but this question has to be asked to everyone because Samir should not get only the brownie point to give so much of
Due credit to the
due
wife,
credit
huh?
to the wife.
Yeah, I know this is going to be a content which I can reproduce multiple times.
So Alim, I think the school failed to recognize your talent in your school days. I guess you failed in the second standard. You are
Third
successful
standard.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, third standard.
Yeah.
Okay, but that time it didn't make difference. Second, third, seemed the same. So they would be, your teachers would be very happy if they meet you today when you have become so successful in your business line. How did that setback affect you, or how did you take it?
Obviously, when it happens at that moment of time, it's
You're too
confusing.
young to understand that.
understand. I remember crying on the couch because it was not just me who failed that year. Both my sisters also failed that year.
Oh,
So there was
so you're
something.
not alone. It was a group.
Yeah. So imagine the postman comes expecting his bakshish because that time he used to give the report card and say that, okay, you passed. So, you give him 10, 20 bucks. And he say, acha, 1, 2, 3, and all 3 failed. It's like, bhago idhar se. That was
So
one.
to save on the bakshish, you all failed?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the good part about failing the third is that it makes a great story. So today I actually start with the introduction that what I failed in my third. So automatically people opposite get very comfortable. Acha, theek hai, dummy.
I'm
hai.
better than him. The
Exactly.
opposite guy says, I'm better than him.
Absolutely. But that also teaches you that failure is not such a bad thing. Obviously, success is a better thing, but failure is not such a bad thing. So I think when you learn from that kind of age, it helps you overall in life. So you don't look at failure that, oh my God, my world has come to an end. You look at it as it's part of life. You got to move on. The best part is that when I failed in the third, when I had to repeat it, by then I had kind of mastered that subject for whatever reason. So I got 3 merit cards the next year. So then it elevates you to a position saying that, okay, theek hai, you failed, but you did way better than the others. So then that's fine.
Excellent. What made you pivot to the pharma industry? Like you're into advertising firm,
Yeah.
you operate an advertising firm focused on the pharma industry.
Yes.
Why that pivot only towards one particular industry and not generic?
Yeah, I think life has a way of designing things. So my dad was a medical rep. So that was not the reason why actually I got into pharma. Life designed it that way. So I was working in an agency, or rather a dot-com company. They had 4 dot-coms in that. One of them was like Facebook.com, way ahead of its time. There was one called Cricket, one was something on Bollywood, and one was on health. All the 3 failed, but the health one did well. And then my boss decided that, let's run the healthcare one better. I got one project for a large company called Novartis. That kind of created an impact in my life. I felt, wow, I'm doing something that's really, it's not just selling bags or selling, crockery or something like that. It was actually creating life's impact. And then I said, this is what I want to do in my life. So when I started my agency, I kind of felt that, I want to do healthcare, and, eventually that worked out.
So you build the muscle for the healthcare industry.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. So not only monsoon times, but every time I love to have the soup at Santé. And today that soup that we are enjoying is a charred butta and cheddar chowder bowl. It's a absolutely velvety monsoon-inspired chowder of smoky charred sweet corn, potatoes and leeks, enriched with aged cheddar, gently spiced with roasted cumin and green chili, and finished with maple chili butter, corn chutney salsa, and crispy makai pakora crumble. Now that's a lot. That's a lot to speak about for one single soup.
And to put in one soup so many ingredients.
And putting so many ingredients in one soup, and these are all freshly made, always freshly made. So in Santé, the other advantage is the order gets made after the order is placed. Nothing is pre-cooked. So that's why you'll always get the freshness on every spoon of soup that you drink, or the bite that you'll have on the bread that's along with this. So that's what we are going to be enjoying. And after this, we are going to be enjoying a makhana, edamame and chickpea bhel, in a very different way. You'll love that also. It is chatpata, very tasty to the tongue, but at the same time, healthy to your systems.
Very flavorful.
Yes. So Rahul, education is something that also defines us to a great extent. It can be formal, it can be informal. You had the privilege of studying in 2 countries. One is our home country, India, and then subsequently you traveled to the UK, Nottingham University. What are the differences that you noticed, and what is the value addition that each country did to the fine lawyer that you are today?
So before UK, I just want to clarify that I did study in India, but I was fortunate to study in 4 to 5 different cities of Maharashtra.
Maharashtra, yeah, some different districts.
Different districts. Aurangabad, where I started my first, second standard, then Nanded in between. Then in Latur district, there is a place called Ahmedpur. And
I never knew about a place called Ahmedpur. I thought it's a spelling mistake. You wanted to say Ahmednagar and you put Ahmedpur.
It's Ahmedpur is not only a place, but it is known for its preparation for 11th and 12th students.
Oh, wow.
And back in...
So it's a study hub.
Yeah. So late 90s and early 2000, there used to be a pattern of teaching which was known by a place called Ahmedpur pattern, where they used to finish your 12th syllabus by end of 11th standard, and the entire 12th standard was just preparation and prelims and trial exams and all. So I did all of that. Then I did laws first 2-3 years from Nanded district. Then I felt no, what I wanted to do is not possible in Nanded district, and I'm probably missing out of the things that I would like to try and get exposure to while I'm taking education. So I was fortunate enough to get into Ferguson's DES Law College. In 2006, I moved there, and I was from the first batch of 5 years course of BSL LLB, and fortunate to get in, enjoyed it completely. And while I was in last year, there were a lot of education fairs around Pune and Mumbai for foreign universities used to come to attract students. Went to that, got attracted, got mesmerized with their brochure and photos and everything.
They sell well.
Very well. they are selling it to student who is...
And the student is selling it to the parents.
Yeah, student is doing everything for that. I was fortunate to have my parents who were ready to support, but not through and through. They were very clear that, if you want to take up such kind of a decision, you should also put your skin in the game. So then the thing that I was asked to do was to take education loan. And I took, I remember going to several banks And ultimately, Bank of Maharashtra decided
Agreed.
to give me. And for that also, one of the branch manager agreed to become my guarantor because they needed someone from Maharashtra Bank account holder only to be the guarantor, and I had no one in my contact who could back me with the guarantee. So after visiting 4 to 5 times, and I literally tried just to convince Madam Shahani was there that if you can just consider, giving me guarantee, I promise I'll come back and I'll repay all the education loan. She liked it. She did background verification check and all, and she agreed. So that's how I could get 14 lakhs loan in 2009, which was also including my flight ticket of Jet Airways and my education. And part of it I had taken for my private accommodation because I could not get a larger loan. I had to take private accommodation for UK. When I went there, the realization was that they are very well organized for giving you that education experience with renowned faculty, with best of the best infrastructure. I remember University of Nottingham has a very prestigious library called Hallward Library. The kind of method in which the classes will be taken, it's like group discussion. Every day only one class will take place. All of this showed that they are very serious about education. They are not just trying to finish the course. They are not rushing into things. They are giving you choices to choose modules. Once you choose that module, they are setting a day for one entire day only for one subject. It could be 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and all of that is planned in the beginning of the year. So we would know when our results are going to come out at the year end right from the day one. So entire thing is very well planned, very well structured, and well executed. That planning and achieving that execution was unheard thing for me because when you are in India, you don't know when the dates of exams are going to be. Everything is a surprise and news for you. But there it was all planned, executed. Plus the exposure to different ethnicity pertaining students. I was fortunate to stay in private accommodation. I met some good friends outside university also. I took up part-time job because I had to, remember education loan is there. So I can't just afford to spend everything. I need to start collecting also. So I did job at Burger King to begin with, then Marks and Spencers. Then I also joined a solicitor for interim period as a attorney traineeship program. I was fortunate to get experience of interacting with British people also right from the age of 16 to 60. I could see how they look at things. A lot of good conversations happened which made me realize that although UK, the atmosphere, the infrastructure, be it London or other counties, they are all interesting and very attractive, but it is for momentary things. What you have as an opportunity growth that is waiting for you in India, that I realized in 2019. I said, the minute my course is over, I am heading back to India. I think there is no restriction on my growth journey. I heard enough of experiences where despite they being super qualified, only few restrictions, sometimes some racial discrimination, sometimes the bureaucracy, sometimes the preference that white skin will get over the brown skin, all that kind of became obstacles for them when they were in UK. And I felt my 5 years education is much longer period than my 1.5 years of LLM in UK. I should give more importance to that 5 years. That's why I decided to come back immediately. And I was fortunate to get some early opportunities here. And here I had great confidence when I was dealing with any authority, any judge, any individual, because I had stayed outside. There I had interacted, I have worked for, and I have handled situations outside India independently. So for me, anything that I was doing here, be it appearing before collector to revenue minister to appearing before high court, it was all right. As long as I knew what I was doing, it was very easy for me to go about doing. And that's what I took with me when I came back from UK, that India is full of possibilities. Don't discount yourself. Don't discount yourself. Always try to aim higher and higher. You'll definitely get good opportunities to crack it.
Absolutely. So do you still remember the branch manager? You're in touch with him?
Very much.
The guarantor?
She has become a family friend now.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent.
And we managed to close the loan also in time.
Hence, she remains the friend.
So in 1995, I was taking the first bank loan of my life from Bharat Cooperative Bank. And the bank loan got sanctioned. It was for 3 lakhs. The bank loan got sanctioned, but with the condition that 10% has to be the margin money. Now, I was a young entrepreneur then. I didn't know the concept of margin money. I thought loan मतलब 3 लाख अप्लाई किया तो 3 लाख मिल जाएगा. I didn't know that you have to make a margin amount payment. So I said, I don't have that 30,000 to pay. So there was a guy sitting next to me, similar age. His name was Shivram Pujari. He heard the conversation. I told the manager that I can arrange 10,000. Can you proportionately allot me the loan, and then from that loan again I'll pay you 20,000 and then you disburse the balance 20,000. मतलब मजबूरी का नाम महात्मा गांधी. You come with all formulas, right? So that gentleman sitting next to me, unknown man. There are so many angels in everybody's life. He comes up to me and he tells me that I will give you that 20,000 rupees. So you pay it to the bank and get your loan disbursed. So I said, but we don't even know each other. He says, that doesn't matter. I am ready to give you that 20,000 rupees. So he transferred his 20,000 rupees. He was from the same same bank account holder. Transferred 20,000 to me. I got the loan disbursed to my account, and then in a couple of days, 3, 4, 5, 7 days. And once it was disbursed to me, I returned that 20,000 rupees back to Shivram Pujari. And we are till today thickest of our friends between us. And in 2007, 2008, that was my first stint of starting a restaurant. And I started the restaurant in which Shivram Pujari was my partner. And again, we took loan from the same bank, Bharat Cooperative Bank. And that restaurant of mine was operated by a very famous gentleman called Mr. Henry Tham. Henry Tham, you must be knowing, yeah. So he used to operate that restaurant of mine. His children are today very successful. Foo and Foo outlets are also theirs. They do a couple of other brands also. So see how angels come into your life. And till today, Shivram Pujari and we are thick friends. And we did a couple of other activities also together. So Alim, being grateful, like he's been grateful to that madam manager of the bank. I'm grateful to a person like Shivram Pujari and many more people in my life. You're grateful to the Cadbury's man, Ashok Jain.
Yes.
So what is that one lesson as a mentor that he parted with you that became strong for you to do what you do?
Yeah, so the story of Ashok Jain is a very interesting one. So he was the managing director of Cadbury
Cadbury's.
Schweppes, yeah, and he quit that to start a .com company, which I kind of spoke about a little bit earlier. I sent my resume, I think 40 times to that company because I wanted to join that company. It was the only company I wanted to join. Finally, I got a call. It was a Sunday, I think, when he called me, and I'm like looking at this guy. He's calling me on a Sunday. I said, "ठीक है." He's the only guy in the office with the receptionist over there. He takes me into his room, and I think I just got mesmerized with the way he conducted himself. I mean, he was not like good looking. He was not like the most well-dressed person in the room. But the way he spoke is what kind of got my attention. And that was his charm in front of the clients that I really noticed. And I think that is what was the first thing I kind of wanted to acquire from him. So I've realized that even advertising, even though it's a creative business, it's actually a relationship business. And it's also a show business, which means you conduct yourself well, you win the confidence of the client, and then you build a relationship with them. And that becomes a lifelong relationship like these things. So I think that is what I kind of acquired from him. And I continue to, kind of develop that skill again and again in this thing. So they are also like angels only. That come into your life.
That's been a very strong
Influence. Yes,
and
absolutely.
a great mentor.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that human beings have to be mentors.
Yeah.
Some people use technology to mentor their business and grow it further. So that is what I think Samir did with his business. He was one of the early investors in getting his organization automated and using the right technology.
Yes.
So what made you take that decision? Because at that point of time, when you did this, I'm sure it was a couple of decades back or multiple years back, investment in technology was something that people were resisting because of the upfront cost involved. And in spite of that, you went ahead and did that. So how did that muscle build up? Ki chalo ye karna hi hai, and let me be different than the other peers in the same sector or the same activity.
Right. So for me, most of the things that have happened, one thing I realized that a lot of things come out of frustration from status quo. So very early in my practice, I asked people, how do I grow? And people told that you add files and that's how CA firms grow. So in the next 6-7 years, what I did was I went on getting income tax and accounting files. And at one point of time, I realized that I was super busy. People used to call me at night, 30 p.m. at the night and ask me, where should I pay my LIC from my account or wife's account or my kid's account. but I was not anywhere close to what I wanted to achieve. So I was busy, and I understood that the only currency for me as a professional is my time. So if my time is gone, then and I'm not already there, so that first frustration got me to get partners in the firm. So that's when I got a partner in the firm, and I committed to him an amount which was higher than the revenue that I had given to him, because I had thought that if this works, it's fine. If it doesn't work, I will close it down. So I have in my firm at multiple times wanting to change the orbit or close it down. I used to operate from that mindset. So when partners came in, I found that this works. More people, more hands, more brains actually build capacity, and capacity is what is needed. Plus specialization gets created. Similar, time in early 2010s, around 2012 or 13, I understood that our firm is growing. Uh, and then there used to be a call at the reception asking that, this is my work which is being done, and what is the status of the work. And that time my receptionist, we had a 2000 square feet office, she used to stand at the door and take the client's name, who is doing this work, and then somebody would raise the hand, and then the line would get transferred. So I thought this is not something which is scalable, because there are multiple people operating on multiple clients, and so we have to, if we were to grow, then this practice has to be managed technologically in a scalable manner, and I'm sure somebody would have done it. So with that mindset, we started creating a practice management system. So wherein we would allot work to our team members. Team member would know what is the task that they need to do. Once they complete the work, they upload the documents there. Clients would get an email, or they could log in and get that. So it took us 4 years to do that. Multiple failures. We were not technology guys. My partners who still understood technology better than me, he led the whole thing. Finally, we found that what we had created has become a great product. Now, with technology product, what happened is that the market changes, needs keep changing. So we thought that why do we, if we have to keep innovating this or making it better, it will be beyond our capacity, because this is like a first case. So while we owned the source code bit, we allowed the guy who built it us, was patient for us to do it over a period of 3-4 years, that why don't you go out and sell this? Because we are sure that if we as a firm have this problem, multiple firms would have that problem. So now he went and sold this. So now 200 different chartered accountancy firms use that.
आपने खर्चे को इनकम बना दिया.
इनकम हमको ये था कि आप इसको मैनेज करके खाली मेंटेन कर दे रहो, बहुत हो गया, इसमें पैसा नहीं आएगा चलेगा, बट वी वांट टू कीप हैविंग अ बेटर प्रोडक्ट. But that's how our first stint with technology worked. Then, AI has now become buzzword. We always thought that you can only scale as much as you have some predictable output going to the client in terms of quality and experience. And technology.
And that first mover advantage helped your growth.
100%.
Because
it
these
gave
are
us
the decisions which really shape or speed up the growth that you anticipate.
100%. And that, it gives you more control over your practice. And once you have more control over the delivery output, you're more confident in selling it to the client, because you know that the quality will never be compromised.
So the process of implementing technology is a very long one, and customers, especially people who don't understand technology, mine is a technology background, so I can speak this. The people who don't understand technology become impatient in between also. कि यार क्यों शुरू किया, ये नहीं रहता तो चल जाता.
Right.
So you must have felt that a multiple
100%.
number of times.
Yeah. So again, what happens is when you build technology, and we are not technology guys, so we want to build the best thing. So the best keeps changing. So the first learning was that the product that we started off kept changing over a period of 3, 4, 5 years.
Always a moving goalpost.
So while that guy was patient, but we understood that this is now how things are built. Second is we wanted it to be a perfect product. So for us to file a tax return, we had put 16 steps there. So, and we had told our team that you have to update all the steps so that we know that whether this is at this level or second level. After a point of time, we got the feedback from the team that we are spending more time updating the product than working. So we understood that we had created complexity rather than simplicity. So then that learning went away. We wanted to make it more simple, keep our objective, what we are doing, standard, don't swear. So we had all that learnings. At one point of time, everybody wanted, we don't want to do this. And then now everybody is so used to working on it that it's become a core DNA of our firm that everybody is actually logging
That
on.
has become the speciality.
Yeah.
And the most loyal and honest employee is always technology.
Yeah.
Works 24 hours, doesn't ask for a hike, doesn't take a holiday, and still is productive.
True.
So that was a good step that you took at the right time, probably. So in Jan 2026, a very dear friend of mine, also a good friend of yours and a client to you now, Sanjay Thakkar, he celebrated his 60th birthday at a beautiful place in Udaipur. And It was amazing. Couple of 100 acres of land, ITC Mementos in Udaipur. Great place to be. And it was so beautiful that we loved it. Everything was so well planned. Then suddenly I realized that it is done by Bobby Mukherjee. So I have stayed in two of your creations, and both are landmarks. One is the Mementos. I think it is one of the best earning properties for ITC, and second is a historical landmark for India, the Sahara Ambi Valley. So I've stayed there also. So these are the two creations of Bobby that I have not seen. I have lived and experienced it, and I've loved it. You always seem to win competitions, Bobby. You also won the competition for Lee Meridian.
Yes.
So, what is the feeling that you get? Do you prove something to yourself whenever you win competitions?
Not really. I'm a kind of person that just goes with the flow.
But you like filing for competitions and winning them,
Yes. And even after winning, it's not that I'm like greatly ecstatic or anything. It just, I can clearly explain that, but it's part of our story, and it also helps me and my team to realize that what we do is by far, it's achieving excellence for our own selves and excellence for our clients. So this is one way to sort of recognize the fact that the quality of work we produce is the best you can. And then when the awards start coming in or you win competitions, right, it just you are verifying that.
How do you set parameters when you participate in a competition? How do you set parameters that need to supersede whatever other people might be filing, because they are participants in the same competition, right? So how do you set that? And how do you imagine what the others are going to put forward?
I don't think that way.
Which way do you think then?
I just ensure that whatever we do is the best of our capabilities without, any compromise.
And what is your clicking point? What is it that excites the people holding that competition that, oh, this is really the best proposal ever?
What I've noticed is that we've been also successful irrespective of competition or no competition. It's the projects that end of the day, they've been very successful and they get very good return on investment for whoever's built that money. So there's something that we get right. And I realize that a lot is to do with understanding the location, the culture, the brand required, the end user. Somehow I'm able to figure that out. Not just in Indian conditions, even internationally, we're able to touch the right pulse, which I think happens with when you before you start a project, you really passionately think, dream, and you mull over it. Then just diving into it, it's a lot of effort. That because we don't just look at it as being a regular profession. You're doing it out of love. We're passionate about what we do, and automatically you get your answers when you deep dive into that. And so across, whether it's in the middle of the ocean, or it's on top of a mountain, or it's in the middle of the desert, or it's in a Western country, and we have work across. Like one of our projects is in the Caribbean, superbly successful project. Is one of the world's best private jet terminals. Mm-hmm. Now, I had never designed a private jet terminal, but because of Sahara, I had designed a whole lot of airline lounges in all those old airports.
In the Ambi Valley.
All the airports
and
in India
during the Sahara Airlines.
Yeah, during the Airport Authority of India, when the airports were a dump. And the only bright spot in all these airports was this lounge that allowed us to get into the interior design scene. Otherwise, I'm an urban planner and architect by education. Where does ID come from? So, because of the quality of work we did then, an aviation company that used to lease aircrafts to Sahara traced us down.
And they took you to Caribbean.
Yeah, and that was also a competition.
How do you do your cost calculations, execution cost calculations from the client side? So the design should not be such that even Kuber goes bankrupt. Because design can be anything. It's a wild imagination.
Since I have all these issues, right? Dyslexia, ADD, all that stuff, right? But what I do is I don't do these calculations, but I work on my gut.
That this will be feasible to execute.
Yeah. So I don't do that, and we do not really go out of budget. We don't. I tell point blank, if you want all this stuff, it's going to cost you so much.
But
Yeah,
that
so-
doesn't exceed. You make sure that
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
exceed.
yeah. And but it varies, no? It changes in different environments. What works in India does not work in New York. So or in between would be Dubai or UAE. The different geographic or conditions in which we work, and so I work on that gut, and it's not failed me till now.
Excellent. Excellent. So what you're now enjoying is a makhana, edamame and chickpea bhel. So loads of high protein and absolutely the makhanas which are roasted are stunning. Matlab the way you'll enjoy it. And edamame and chickpeas which is tossed with fresh herbs, cucumber ribbons and a chili Malta orange dressing which is giving the flavor to that makhana bhel. And the other one is everybody's favorite. Rahul loves it. The holy guacamole. It is fresh Hass avocado guacamole served with house-made seeded crackers for a very light, nourishing, and a wholesome start. Whatever you eat in Santé is made in Santé. So even the crackers get made in the kitchen itself. We don't get anything from outside. Our ice creams are made here. All sauces are made here. Whatever we offer in the restaurant is made in Santé and by Santé. Nothing is outsourced.
What does Santé mean?
Good living. Cheers to life and good living.
Nice.
It's a French word.
Yes, okay.
So, Samir, we have so well developed as a country, and investments, thanks to shows like Shark Tank, people have started understanding what investments mean. It's not only stock market, it's not only gold, it's not only property, but it's a multiple combination. There are other options available, and firm like yours educates the audiences, and then they become your clients, and then you service them. But still, why are lots of HNIs still not having wealth management services as a support mechanism to the wealth they have earned and which needs to get multiplied? What is lacking?
I think two things. One definitely is that they have been missold a lot of times. So they
Valid
have,
point.
yeah, they have met a lot of people, wouldn't want to classify, but a lot of bankers who have their own targets to sell, and they would sell a product which they want to sell, not which is good for the other person. So that's one of the big reasons where they have lost trust on whom to trust. And second reason, sometimes I think that wealth management as a subject, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who have exited. And, those are people who are generally very high intellect people, because, high intellect, high energy guys who have built companies, scaled it, and then sold it. Somewhere I feel that a lot of them at some point of time, because of social media or because of access to so much information, start thinking that they can manage their wealth on their own as well. So in every social circle, somebody speaks that I am invested in Bitcoin or crypto. He goes back and tells his wealth manager that I would want to do a Bitcoin or a crypto, not understanding why, what proportion, what is the hedge, where is the valuation coming from. And also when you have so many fin influencers coming up now, SEBI is trying to govern a lot of them. But everybody who speaks on the social media sometimes are not those who are completely qualified, but the kind of followers and the confidence that they bring in. There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of information flowing in. And because of so much information flowing in and these people being very intellectual, sometimes feel that now I am equipped enough to manage my own wealth. So they fragment themselves, do a lot of things, and after a point of time, they understand that I have invested multiple places, and right now I also don't figure out, what's doing well and what's not doing well. Not even time to look at it and review. So I think these two broad reasons. First is the distrust that has happened for them early on, and second is everybody trying to self-educate. Now everybody is wanting to be their own doctor. Like that, everybody is wanting to be their own wealth manager as well.
So, for your segment of doing business, what is your customer acquisition process?
So
How do you acquire new customers?
I think, I tell my team as well, for us, our product is trust. It's not CFO services, it's not taxation, it's not accounting. So our product is trust, and, what follows is invoicing. So for us, the acquisition process has to be trust driven. I have to be consultative, I have to be thinking with empathy, sitting at my client's place, thinking what is good for him and not something good for me. I remember a conversation early when I started my practice. I had a peer who had completely written me off, telling कि ये तुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा. So that happened because a conversation with him, I shared that I told him that, when I started off purely as a tax practice. So I had a client who had come in with a notice and he was very fearful, thinking, "Arey, notice aa gaya, income tax, what will happen?" So I explained to this senior chartered accountant that he came in with this notice. So he told, "How did you respond?" So I told him that it's fine. You get notice. Multiple people get those notices. There is a way to work around this. We'll find a way. You relax. And this is going to happen over the next 1.5 years. So why do you want to be so stressed about it? So he looked at me and he told, "You don't understand what you are doing." So I asked him, "I don't know. What is it that I have come to you because I keep sharing what I am doing?" So he told me that we are in the business of fear and you let the fear go off. So he told me that, "Why don't you sit with me for one of the meetings?" And I thought, okay, let me sit with him. And then, there was somebody who walked in with a similar kind of notice and he told him, "Do you know what's happened here? You don't have an idea on your stocks. The first question the tax officer is going to ask you is on your stocks. You have so much problems here. And if this gets caught, then there is a tax of so much and non-tax of so much. There is a 100% penalty." So he built that amount to such fear that this person who had come with a little stress actually started panicking. And he just pleaded to him, "Ke boss, bacha lo," right? So then he told me, "Ke what is the fees that you asked for your client?" I told him X. So he told him even I ask him 3x, he's going to pay me. So that time, I figured out that maybe, one thing about me is that this is something I can't do, right? So this is not the way I'm built. But I think now when I look back after so many years, 25, 28 years of practice, I think that's the right thing that I did. Because I built trust into somebody by, taking care of him at the time when he was the most vulnerable, rather than trying to encash at that time. So I think for me, my entire currency, entire product is trust. Do good for somebody, sit in his shoe and see whether this is something which is good for him or something which is making money for me. So if it is good for him and making money for me, that is the right thing. And I think that has flown as a culture across the organization because that is constantly been spoken to everybody in the organization. We have a team of around 200 right now. And this is something that is a constant thing that I keep pushing, that we are building an institution which is based on trust. I am not going to be asking you what is the billing you did. Right? We are not here for non-profit. We want to build revenues. But this revenues is at the cost of our clients growing. Not that we growing and the clients not.
So majority of your business comes from referrals?
Most comes from referral.
You have any fresh unknown cases that come up to you and ask you for your services because they've heard about you or?
Yeah, this was surprising actually. Somebody from Trivandrum called me and I asked her that, "How did you come to know about me?" So the very surprising referral was that I asked ChatGPT that this is a problem that I have in my business. Whom should I appoint? And ChatGPT said that you shouldn't get a full-time employee because the mess is very high. You need to get an outsourced CFO services firm to solve this right now.
So your SEO is working?
I was surprised. I didn't know that. So then she asked, "Who is that CFO services?"
AI SEO is working.
SEO is working.
Then she asked, "Who is that CFO services?" So they recommended me and my firm. And then she asked, "Why are you recommending?" And then they gave a good answer as well. I asked her that,
You have fed that also?
I have not fed. So I asked her, "Give me a snapshot so that I know something that we are doing well."
Excellent. Alim, in the sector that you're in, pharma industry, you're advertising in the pharma industry. Pharma industry has got a lot of rules and regulations. There are more don'ts than do's. Yeah. So how do you balance your creative communication in such a controlled, structured environment? Because you have to convey the message, but still you have to restrict a few emotions. You cannot make some promises. How do you juggle yourself in this kind of an environment and still come out with good ad campaigns?
See, first of all, it's a cliche, but we still obviously understand that this is not B2B, B2C, or in our case, business to doctors. We always say it's the human on the other side and a human on this side. So whether it's across the screen, across the table, or across the, a proposal, it's always a human on the other side, and you have to communicate to the human. Now, obviously, the pharma industry and the medical industry comes with its guidelines and what we call as medico marketing things. And there are some do's.
It's called medico marketing.
Yeah. And there are some do's and don'ts for these things. I think creativity also thrives when there is a controlled environment, that you have to work within these constraints. So it brings together a lot more discipline into the way you work. Creativity is always appreciated because it kind of sticks. So whenever you do a campaign, your main idea is, will it stick in the mind of the customer? Also, today there is a very less attention span. So how quickly can you get your message out there is the most critical thing that we kind of focus on. And the guidelines now have become part of life. So we know that you got to do this, you can't do this. That's fine. Now we have learned that you can thrive in constraints, you can still be stickable, and you can still create communication that stands apart. And we also win awards for the work that we do. So yeah, that's always rewarding.
It's a very tricky activity because when you are governed on what cannot be allowed,
Yeah.
then remembering that is going to be always a challenge. Is that one of the reasons why you chose and stuck only to one segment of advertising, that is healthcare, because you mastered of understanding what is allowed and what is not allowed?
That's one thing, but I think the impact that we create is very important. Like, we used to work on I kind of launched a patient support program in cancer. And, for me, it was just another project. I mean, it was nice, interesting. We did some good work and all that. A couple of years later, one of my friends, who's one of the fittest people I know actually, got cancer. And due to some reason, I mean, it's an expensive treatment, right? That same patient support program that I had kind of launched helped him to, come out of cancer. That's when you realize that the work that you're doing is not, just like I said, selling something random. You're actually impacting patients' lives or people's lives in general. And that's what actually gives you a lot of gratification, because you feel that, you did something that helped somebody, not just influence them to buy something randomly out of the blue.
Excellent, excellent. You spoke about cancer and you also spoke that it's expensive process. So we used to have a police commissioner in Mumbai called Mr. Arup Patnaik, one of the most straightforward IPS officers and a terrific police officer, one of the best that Maharashtra must have ever seen. So he started many years back, he started a foundation called Konark Cancer Foundation. Proudly, I am also a volunteer of that foundation today. It has helped more than 1,25,000 people to recover from cancer.
That's massive.
So every kind of support to anybody from India coming into Mumbai for a treatment at Tata Memorial Hospital gets supported by Konark Cancer Foundation.
Wow.
Now they don't fund the operation, but they create the entire infrastructure that is required for that particular family to make sure that the treatment goes well. So in terms of arranging place to stay, food to eat, getting the appointments with the doctors, getting the medical treatments available or the medicines available, all of this is being done by Konark Cancer Foundation. The two elements that they donate to people is people who are ladies who are suffering with breast cancer, artificial implants are given totally free of cost, and for ladies, artificial wigs, both are imported products, are given totally free of cost. So anybody watching this, you can reach out to Konark Cancer Foundation. If anybody in your family, God forbid, in your family is suffering with cancer, or if you know of anybody who's suffering with cancer, you can connect with Konark Cancer Foundation and they can be an angel in disguise for solving your problem. So that is something great that you did.
So what we also identified in cancer is that people either don't start treatment, or they start treatment, they don't complete treatment.
Yes.
That is how it was. So we tried to find out why don't they start treatment or complete treatment. Now again, since you spoke about women, one of the reasons why people don't start treatment is who will travel to the hospital. So they say, who will travel to the hospital? Who will take care of my kids when I'm gone for treatment? So what we also did, besides the ones that you all also do, is that we provided transport free of charge for them to kind of go to the hospital. We provided childcare support to take care of children while they had gone to the. So these kind of things, when you realize, you feel, my God, this is such a small thing, right?
So I guess we should collaborate.
Yeah.
Konark Cancer Foundation and the activity that you're doing. And
absolutely.
I think it will save a lot of lives.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is the need of the hour.
And that's our life's work.
So all of us live on a concept called learn, earn and return. So we learned, we are earning so well by the grace of God that our return has to happen. Everybody is doing it in their own way. I'm sure everybody does it in their own way. So for me, we have taken the mission of cancer treatment as a mission, and that's how we support Konark Cancer Foundation. So we'll connect on this subject subsequently. So Bobby, today we are seeing the world of design change dramatically, especially with the glitter and glam of Dubai, where it is all about branding, and all luxury brands are coming into branding residential and office premises, like the Mercedes Tower or the BMW Tower or the Fendi Tower, Versace Tower. What do you see happening with this culture coming up? Even in India, like there are people who are wanting the Trump Tower, and people are paying crazy money just to get associated with that brand name. So do these brands also control the design element, or they are just billing it, taking the money and living off it? What is happening in reality?
We are working on some of the brands you mentioned,
Okay.
and some more. Yeah, some of the world's largest projects that happen to be in India.
Is it in Delhi?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the name of the brand. The American brand, the watch guy.
No, no, bigger than that. We're doing the world's largest branded residences, which is the Westin Residences in Gurgaon. It's the world's largest, yeah? And then
Western Residences.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it's managed by Marriott Westin.
Mhm.
And there's also a big fashion brand that we're working with. Now, it greatly helps is because
The recognition value.
it's not just about the brand. It what the brand stands for and the fact that they don't just give your name unless they have full control. Now, there are various situations and there are various brands that as a developer you have to choose the right brand who's going to bring in that value and not just give a name. I mean, there is a brand in Delhi, for example. People think it's a big car brand. Just because that person has the big guy's last name doesn't mean it's the same brand.
Yes.
So
I know which car brand you're talking about.
you got to be mindful about. You are the grandson of the big boy. And that doesn't mean it's the same. It's controlled by the same.
I
design
met him in
sensibilities.
person. But
So-
that doesn't do anything.
So stuff like that. So you have to be very mindful and selective as to who you're partnering with and whether they are actually bringing in the right value. So the partners that we work with, they are definitely greatly involved in the whole design process, and it's a good collaboration where the brand DNA is
Gets
clearly
integrated
reflected
in the
in
product.
the product. So when the person is buying that product, he is assured that quality of lifestyle.
Yes.
So the great thing about having these brands is that many times the developers, when they do it on their own, they do not have a guiding factor. They think they know it all, but when you partner with someone who has really good sense of styling and design, that styling gets into the project. So automatically the sophistication of that brand is part of the whole ecosystem of that development.
So do brands tie up with professionals like you who have got the designs element in place? Do they tie up with you to ensure that their ethics are not compromised in the delivery of the product?
Yeah. So they will
That's how
only
is it working?
they will only work with a serious professional partner that's going to take care of their interests.
Because this is becoming a big trend now. We have not caught up with it much in Mumbai yet.
No,
But Delhi,
Mumbai's
Gurgaon,
behind the scene.
behind the scene in this
behind the
case.
scene in
Yeah.
quite a bit. There are some happening around India, but the forefront, the biggest is not even Delhi, is Gurgaon.
Gurgaon.
The others will, but elsewhere in the rest of the world, in Dubai, in Miami, in many others, Bangkok, many of these cities, they've been ahead of the time.
Dubai, anything standing vertical is getting branded.
Yeah.
Anything. They are just going on brands, big names, good names.
Yeah.
And-
So it results when you do walk into that building,
It shows.
it shows.
It shows.
That. So if you left it just to that local developer, that level of
He'll
finesse,
cut corners.
that level of finesse would be missing. So when
Yes.
you're paying that extra buck,
You
it's
really need
assured.
to leverage it with the product.
Yeah. So there are two there's a problem also with that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
What happens once you've acquired and you live in? Who's going to take care of it?
Yes. The
That's-
post maintenance.
Yeah, so that's where the trouble happens. So you're getting in a big brand, and if he does not have a strong hospitality background in taking care of the operations of the place,
Subsequently.
yeah, you lose out. So I've been observing two ends of the spectrum. I won't be very vocal about it at the moment, but you have to be mindful as to who's going to be with you in the long run.
Term,
Yeah.
in the long run, to make sure that it gets maintained.
Yeah. So the fly-by-night operators, they will just get some brand, everyone makes money, and they hand over the key as and bye-bye. That's the wrong property to get into. You have to get the assurance in the end.
These designer products are also very expensive to maintain. So it's like you might buy the elephant. One go you might buy it, but then you have to feed it every day.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean, so that's where we also come in, where the brand DNA is maintained, keeping in mind these practical aspects. where you don't go overboard, where it's going to be a nightmare for them to maintain. I agree, but it's all possible to do it sensibly and smartly.
And that's happening
Yeah, it's happening.
in small percentages, but it's happening.
No, all these brands, if firstly it's the integrity of the developer, it's the integrity of the brand, and it's the integrity of the architect that's putting the whole project together. So these three, if they work together with good chemistry between the three, it's a recipe for success.
Excellent. So Rahul, businesses are growing, countries are growing. India is moving from being a developing country to becoming a developed country. It is predicted that the next 50 years is going to be India's years for growth and glory. Growth always comes with collaborations, partnerships, understandings, misunderstandings, and legal disputes. So, what do you see as a law firm? What are the type of disputes that are on the rise, and what are the type of solutions that the clients opt for? I would also like to understand the clarification between a court case and an arbitration process.
So when I started practice in 2009-10, my understanding of dispute was, very simple, that anything that was promised and not delivered by one of the party who was promising, this can give, rise to a conflict. And sometimes if it's a standard contract, it would go to court. And if it's a contract with a specific provision which says that in case of a conflict or disagreement, we will not go to court and stand in queue. We'll appoint a private judge, kind of a qualified professional who will, observe our dispute part, adjudicate our dispute part, and we'll have it resolved in private setup. It could be literally like this table where judge can be you and we all could be different parties and their lawyers, and we can finish our dispute arguments. It can go for 3, 4, 6 months depending on everyone's schedule. It can get over with. So my understanding as a fresh law graduate getting into practice was this. But in last 17 years, what I realized that there are a lot of other elements. When you say India is growing, India is attracting a lot of interest from within India. Different states, pertaining players are wanting to go to states like Maharashtra, which is the lead state for attracting FDIs and opening it for manufacturing and auto industry, or place like Gujarat, which is also very driven to promote manufacturers and entrepreneurs to come and set up things. So a lot of movements are happening. In that process, we realize that people are not leveraging this arbitration or dispute only for solving conflicts. Sometimes they are using it as a pause and play method for maintaining their profitability in their side of business also.
It's a business model, planned model.
If it is done rightly, if it is played by the rule, then yes, people are entering and making their exits also accordingly. And sometimes those exits are not predicted by the other counterparty to the agreement and arrangements. Since 2009-10, sir, we have also seen companies are now taking legal aspects and documentation very seriously. There was a time where most of the companies used to have 1 or 2 lawyers, and they used to ask those lawyers to be the messengers for what kind of work they'll require, and they'll ask some law firms to execute for them. In last 10-15 years, companies have realized that not just for the budget aspect, but also for the continuity in our legal advice that we should have, they started building their own legal teams. A big infrastructure company which has created C-Link of Mumbai, they have 20 lawyers only managing their arbitration in-house. And they have another 40-45 lawyers only managing their contracts which are happening with government. Now, these are 60 lawyers, apart from many other law firms which are working for them. One of them is us also. If you have, clients like this who are sitting with almost 100 lawyers and trying to, manage their legal aspects, they are naturally bound to see things to solve for them also. And whenever they see a challenge that is coming into play, like how in the beginning we said anticipation of dispute or conflict, in that sense, they also like to look at their document. They also look at their tenders and their conditions that with which they participate, and they like to invoke few things that can, work as a bandage for the future bleeding that they're going to experience. And when we see 40-50 years time frame horizon for India to grow with the infrastructure development, with the technology, with the biggest consumer base, be it for data or be it for many other products and many other services, the natural inclination to be well protected in every sense is going to increase more and more.
So is it wise to say that we should now budget even for a legal expenses well in advance, and it should not come as a surprise, because every man traveling on the road feels that he is never going to meet an accident till he meets one.
Absolutely. As you take insurance for
You have to keep
yourself,
provision for.
you have to have, like how every business has no finance, like Samir Bhai brings that offerings effectively and that coverage. Similar to that, you need to have legal as a mandatory
So
thing.
is there a product called legal insurance? In the
Definitely,
market?
yes,
Eh?
yes, very
Oh,
much,
yeah?
very
There is
much.
legal insurance?
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Legacy
Wow.
insurance companies are also there.
So those insurance companies will pay the law firms?
No, it's for the end consumer of that policy. The companies are the, for example, Fidelity Insurance is a product by many insurance company. If company has to pay for their legal expenses over a period of time, which they were proven that they were not supposed to get into at all as a party, after successful closure of that litigation in their favor, they can put all the cost and invoke their insurance policy.
Uh-huh.
And
It is
insu-
not that if a litigation starts, then it gets funded by the insurance
No,
company.
no, And you have to be innocent through and through.
Acha.
For that, you have to wait to the conclusion, and then you have right
So
to
when you
recover that
win,
money. Yes,
then you can claim the
yes,
expenses.
that's the terms and conditions of insurance that you come
But
with.
in short, there is insurance for legal.
Definitely, yes,
Oh, excellent.
And
I didn't know that.
yes,
I
and
didn't
so
know that.
one more aspect. While I would talk about legacy companies having multiple, lawyers within their setup, we also deal with startups, and some of the startup founders are very mindful because again, YouTube content, videos, learning, reading, all of that they have made to understand that, like finance, like marketing, like technology, like research, legal is also very critical thing because many of the documents they start dealing with before selling the first product in market is fundraise, which has term sheet coming in, documents coming in, their patent, their IPR. So half of the founders have become good lawyers, by the way. They just don't practice, thankfully for us. But the adoption of legal, advisory pertaining routine has been there, and I'm dealing with some of the young minds. So they are just graduates from IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, and some of the best universities across India, and they know what they want. They are actually working around the things, and AI is helping them and all. But the seriousness with which they sit with us and try to assess and understand how to draw a royalty agreement, how to have a term sheet where I am giving more stakes, but I want to retain more rights. All of that's very good questions to protect their interest in long term is coming in. And I think with this kind of new generation coming in business and many of the lawyers who are expanding their area of practice, we have lawyers around in India, we have around 35 lakhs lawyers.
Wow.
And every year we add
Wow.
another 90,000 lawyers in practice. 10% of CS, sir. CS are 10% only of the legal fraternity. But the best thing is, many of the young lawyers are branching out to start their own practice in area specific. Blockchain expert lawyers are coming in, data
IP.
privacy lawyers are coming in, IP lawyers are coming in. So I think if anyone ever thinks that he needs some advisory, like how doctors are specialists in brain to, eyes to ENT,
Specialization, yeah.
like that you will find lawyers
For every
and
subject.
for every subject, and you must have chat with them to actually understand whether you require it or not.
In fact, when you travel in the US, the highest advertised category is lawyers. Especially on the highways. All the hoardings are taken by lawyers, and their offer is simple, that we will charge you a percentage of the success fees. So otherwise, affording a lawyer is like you'll have to take a loan. So the insurance policies are such that the lawyer fights at no cost, but when he gets the claim, there must be some split with the.
that is there very much in Western countries. India is yet to make
That will
that
happen
progress.
in the future over here as well.
Yes,
Whatever happened there is going to be
yes.
happening in here.
Yes.
So very, very valid inputs. Very valid inputs.
But we have something which is untapped potential in market. That is third-party litigation funding, where your disputes, if you have a valid commercial dispute and you stand to gain, future order that will result into you receiving funds and money, then there are companies that are working to fund your litigation, and this is done in transparent way. Most of the times this is done in arbitrations, and many of the big companies, many of the mid-sized companies who are struggling to get some sort of recoveries done on finance side, and if they made the threshold on the meritoriousness of the order that they are likely to get or the case that they are putting it up, there are lawyers, there are CAs, and there are some good investment companies that are funding those litigation, and they are lining it up with a fee sharing or the success sharing to the extent of 50-60% also of the
Fantastic.
outcome.
That's a good sector to invest in, actually. When you have great lawyers like Rahul Hingmire with you, then you can take the bet. Excellent. Thank you so much, Rahul. So, guys, now on the table is our actual main course. We are already full by the main course has already arrived. We are already full, but still we have to enjoy this experience, and I'm sure you all are still enjoying it. मतलब पेट भरेगा चलेगा, दिल नहीं भरना चाहिए. So what is there on the table is roasted vegetable and truffle ghee khichdi. This must be your first experience, although you might have had varieties of khichdis in your home, but this is the truffle ghee khichdi bowl. Actually, it gives you around 16 to 18 grams of protein. Now, everybody keeps discussing about fiber, protein, and good fats. So, Santé makes sure that they implement in this conversation what is being conversed by the people. So, this is a special khichdi which is absolutely a modern interpretation of Indian comfort food, where rice and lentils provide the complete plant protein and vegetables are adding vitamins and fiber. So, that is a complete meal by itself. And the second option that is being served to you is garden vegetables and tofu pad thai. It's a very interesting dish. I loved it. I love it actually. So it gives you again 18 to 22 grams of protein for your serving. And this is absolutely protein rich tofu with fresh vegetables, which creates a balanced vegan meal packed with nutrition and flavor. Matlab your taste buds will start dancing when you take the pad thai. Two very different tastes together, but with the same objective that it needs to be supportive to your system. So whether it is a ghee khichdi with truffle, you can actually have the flavor of truffle when you are having the khichdi, and the pad thai, which is giving that tanginess to your taste buds. So we all always discuss about, as clients, we always discuss about the professionals that we work with. Now, all of you guys are professionals in your sectors. I want to get your experiences of a client on how that experience was. Samir, if you could share an interesting anecdote of an interesting client, something different, and how would you rate that client? Or what is your wish list of how a client should be?
So I think one of the interesting anecdotes for me has been on that client, who sold his company. So, this was back in 2007, 2008. Young boy, 22, 23-year-old, starting his business. And he met me at a conference and told me that I want to do a business plan. And I told him that you can come down to my office and we can do it. So he said there is only one problem that I had. So I told, what is the problem? So he told, I don't have money to pay you for your fees. But I saw the passion in that guy that he would do something well. He knew depth about what he was saying. So I told him that, okay, if you want to work, you come down to my Mulund office. I had my office in Mulund that time, and I'll work with you on a Sunday. I don't want to be working on a weekday with you when you don't have money. And he used to come to my office on a Sunday. I used to order some sandwich for him, and he now tells me that that grilled sandwich that you used to order, I used to love it, because it was a great sandwich that you used to offer me that time. And then he built his business, and then while he was growing, he kept hiring people. And I told him that I think you are going faster in your business. And then he told me that, Samir, I think you are a little outdated. Business is built that way. You spend, invest, and then business will fall, come in. So I am always open for ideas, specifically from people younger than me. And I told, okay, let's see what happens. And 2008 happened. He was from the advertising field. The entire advertising budget went off, and he did not have money to pay the salaries, and the business was on the verge of closing down. And then we met again, and his family wanted him to go back and take up a job while he wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I told him, okay, I'll help you, rebuild this time in my methodology, because I understand Excel sheets. So I made him an Excel sheet and told that there are two types of income that we'll derive. One is retainer, one is project. If this is higher than this, then you can hire, and if not, then you can't. So initially he used to ask me a lot of questions, and he became such an expert in handling his finance and handling that. our roles kept changing. Initially I was helping him understand his business model, guide him on the business model, then put up his accounting systems in place, then handed it to his internal accounting team, was guiding him on tax or internal audit. Then as he grew, then helped him get those teams as well. We were acting as de facto CFOs for him. Then as he grew, we got him a CFO. And then ultimately, when he wanted to sell his company, negotiated with him, sat looking at what was good for him. And then, that entire journey of the birth of a client to, exiting it at multi-hundred crore, that's the kind of journey I generally enjoy, because it gives me also a sense of impact, that I believe that we sometimes, because of our knowledge of finance and looking at businesses through very unemotional eyes, understanding cash flows, understanding revenues, margins pretty well, we can always have a great impact on how businesses are built. And together, when such businesses are built, definitely the nation grows, a lot of employment gets created.
So what did you learn from this client?
So this client, the one learning that for me was that we always have a perspective which we have to give, and we always have perspectives which we have to take. Right. The first time when he was growing, where I was not understanding, sometimes my perspective, if I had forced them well, could have prevented the downfall. But I was also a little early in my journey. I was not very forceful. And second perspective is that when there is an entrepreneur who has a very large vision, sometimes, as finance guys, sometimes risk comes very natural to us. So we would always say, be careful, be careful. But sometimes if we talk about what problem can arise to what possibilities can be done, I think moving that lens for us also enables a lot of growth to the other person. So we are like those brakes in a vehicle. So I say that, the vehicles which go the fastest are the ones which have the best brakes, because that gives the confidence to the driver that I can drive the fastest, because there is somebody who is taking care when things are not going well.
Absolutely.
So I think
well said.
that's where, we feel that those brakes become important, so that they are allowed to pace as much as possible, because they know somebody is watching their back.
Excellent, excellent. So that was a great learning for you as well.
Yeah,
he benefited from you, and absolutely.
I think every relationship for me is a mutual learning. So I think that whenever I am sitting with somebody, and I always believe entrepreneurs are smarter than us. If we were as smart, we would have done something all the more bigger. So every opportunity to sit with an entrepreneur with his vision is always a learning thing for me as well.
Excellent. So clients are very good teachers. So thanks for sharing that, Samir. Sometimes an argument with the client also can convert into a very thick relationship.
Sure.
So I had a student of ours during my St. Angelo's computers days. We were computer education centers across the city of Mumbai. So there was a student who was learning AutoCAD from us. And he was very irritated and frustrated, and he came and started complaining to me that your faculty doesn't know anything. From such a long time, I'm trying to design a bridge and he's not been able to do it. So I pacified him and I told him, sir, you're a qualified architect. He is just a AutoCAD operator. If he will know how to design a bridge, then he will become an architect, right? He will not be working with me as a faculty. Now that reality conversation brought him to the expectations that should be expected out of a training program. After that, he became our biggest brand ambassador, and he must have enrolled more than 40 to 45 people in various outlets of St. Angelo's computer education. So sometimes a conflict with the client also, or a misunderstanding or an expectation imbalance also causes great business opportunities. I have got 10,000 such examples, because I've been always in the service sector most of the time. So my quota is over now. That's why I'm investing only in D2C companies. Service sector ka quota pura ho gaya hai. Bobby, when people earn a lot of money, they spend a lot of money. They make houses with crores and crores of rupees. But sometimes these people also come with a lot of attitude and a lot of ego. How do you manage such clients? Because you're in the luxury segment, obviously a very successful man who has been there, done that, earned a lot of money. Now he's coming and sitting across the table and talking to you. So how do you manage his temperament, his ego, and his expectations, which is the most important part?
Well, the first thing is, he would not come to me if he knew what to do with his money. So I make it very clear that, that you've come to the right doctor. I'm like a heart specialist or an oncologist. Now, I'm going to
Does he also have to understand that he has come to an expensive doctor?
They do know. Now, in order to achieve excellence, it does not come cheap. Not just in terms of our fee, because we put in like 3x, 4x more man hours in producing that same project, which the others would do it at 1/4 the time, or there'll be a very limited amount of documentation. Our documents are massive, and to produce that, it has every possible detail mentioned in that. It's like an engineering drawing
Manual.
package, yeah, manual. Like building a submarine or is that detailed. And we're the only ones in the country who do that level of. So people who come to us, they know what we are capable of doing, what others cannot do. So that is very clear from the beginning. Number two, when it comes to their, the costs, where actually they have to procure, they have to spend. I'm only giving gyan, design gyan. They have to execute it. If they don't have right agencies to do it, we guide them, but we do not get into any purchases or, there are many architects and who are like a design and build, and they'll put their nose into all the procurement and all. We do not want to get into that. There's lots of money to be made in doing that, and I see them making tons of money, but I don't want to do that. I don't want a situation where the client will ever question me as to
Or
why.
question your integrity.
Exactly, question my integrity. So you get your stuff, we'll guide you, and if you're getting some substandard stuff, then I'm going to be there like a watchdog.
Any rough experience that you'd like to share, which then turned sweet and it's become a lifelong relationship?
Yeah, I won't give the names.
Obviously.
It's a very successful project that we've recently done, and he came from. He's very successful. He came from a somewhat design background, and he was doing a big project. And initially got me on board. He had very strong ideas, which which many of them were design directions which I did not approve of, and which I thought was bad for him. Then somewhere down the line through the process, as things started moving and he saw the design, many times ruined the project. So lately I've not had any such situation, because they do trust our judgment, and that's why they come to us, and we know our business, and we've achieved great success for them, and so that ego does not work. In the long run, it doesn't. They might come, but I've not had a bad experience till now. Yeah, God's been kind.
And who has been one of your most intelligent clients where you have enjoyed working with that client? You can name it so that you can name that client, because
multiple,
it's positive.
Multiple. One of the most intelligent technocrats that the other way I learned from, being an architect. One of them is Surendra Hiranandani.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
House of Hiranandani.
Yeah, like I found him to be extremely intelligent, and he's one of my first clients right after college.
And favorite clients.
Yeah, and I realized that I learned.
When you mentioned that you learned a lot from him, what is that one thing that you learned from him which added value to whatever you do?
The technical aspects of design. How to design and build, which is technically accurate. He is a knowledge powerhouse on all aspects.
Not heard him much, and not as much as his brother is visible on medias, but that's a good point to understand.
So one of the reasons for their immense success is because of his technological prowess. You can't just be a businessman without having a back end in place. So he's technologically so superior and knows his facts like super. Like he knows more than most of his consultants.
Oh, excellent! Wow.
So we come in with the creative aspects of things, but technically he's superfluous. Another great client that I've learned a lot from when it comes to business and economics in the business of design is Mr. Patu Keswani. He's the chairman of Lemon Tree Hotels.
Oh, okay. Lemon Tree. Become very popular these days.
Yeah, he's massive success. And he is a mathematical wizard. And behind so much of his design decisions, there is mathematics involved. And sometimes he gives me a free hand, like when we did his last, the Aurika Udaipur. It was their flagship to showcase. It was more of an advertising project to showcase the coming of another big luxury brand in India. So we had like unlimited budgets there. he has big funds that support him, and because of his success and giving amazing return on investment to his investors. But then when it came to the Aurika Mumbai, which is the country's largest hotel in terms of room count, he said, Bobby, I'm not going to give you that kind of freedom. Okay, now this is a business hotel, it's an airport hotel. Here is a budget. Like, if you want to do some fancy stuff, you better justify that you're going to get me $1,000 or $2,000 more per night because you're using that. Otherwise I don't allow you to do your own stuff. So again, that's challenging. Like you mentioned about working within fixed parameters, and then it gets more exciting and challenging for us. So we played within that, and it's a superbly successful hotel.
I've been there multiple times. It's beautiful.
And the ROI that's coming compared to the neighboring hotels that have spent double per key cost.
It's better than that.
And the ROI on that, this is like huge compared to the others, if you think, and per day, per month, per year, the turnover is insane. And so a lot goes behind is the business aspect. Then he leaves the creativity to me. He has a great, chief design officer as well. We all get along well together, but his mathematics is what governs my design.
That's a good word you use, mathematics, because I've seen the Leela group of hotels, phenomenal properties, amazing interiors. But I feel it defeated the ROI purpose, because the Leela Chennai, the Leela in Rajasthan, I think it's in Udaipur or Jaipur, I stayed there. The Sheesh Mahal, Udaipur, I stayed there. It's a piece of art. And that particular restaurant in which there are no ACs and no fans, and still you feel cool in any part of the year. It's an architectural marvel, but does that kind of investments support the revenue model? Because in my college days, I used to see McDonald's at Andheri station, and the crowd used to be such that a man coming in from a remote part of the country would feel that it is being distributed free of cost. And on weekend, if they see the crowd, they will feel that McDonald's is also paying the guy to eat it. That kind of crowd, but still the rentals were so high and the product price was so small, keeping into account the maximum price that you can achieve in the Indian standards, they were making losses. So the mathematics that you mentioned is very, very interesting. So the Leela group of hotels, basically I would love to say that some of the best luxury that I've enjoyed in a 5-star hotel property is Leela's, especially the Leela Chennai. I must have stayed there 30 times. I've stayed once in the Udaipur Leela. The Leela at Delhi is stunning again. But then the economic beats the ROI.
So the right wording is the business of design.
Yes.
I am a failure if my design does not support the business and does not get him ROI return. Otherwise, I'm a failure. So we've been lucky in bringing that. It's not like, we have had made expensive projects like the one you mentioned about the Mementos. It was not cheap to build, but we create an experience that
it is giving them the ROI.
Exactly. It is far greater than his expectation. So
excellent.
So that's the pulse that we are able to gauge, and it shows up in our design. All these aspects across geographies.
Excellent. So Rahul, law is a very tricky subject. When a client comes to a lawyer, he feels that he's not come to a lawyer. He feels that he has come to the judge who's going to pass a judgment in his favor. That is his expectation, right? So how do you deal with the expectations of your clients? Because everybody coming to a lawyer wants to win the case, and unfortunately only one party will win, right? The other party has to lose. One party will lose, one party will win. But every client feels that my lawyer is the judge. He's taken my case, so the order is going to come in my favor. How do you try to handle this kind of an expectation of a client?
So many of times the initial conversation that happens with clients is always with this high tension. A lot of situations are with highly sensitive, facts and circumstances that with client would come. And our focus is not on, promising and giving. Our focus is first allowing client to give complete download. Because most of the times when you allow your client to give proper explanation and you peacefully hear them, they are also giving a lot of material that you can actually make them reflect upon, basis of which they can understand what is the level of winning chances their case is having. So a lot of times this first listening is has been really helpful. And second, if you kind of share some relevant case studies and success stories or the live situations that you're dealing with, they can also have a relatability factor. Then they know where their case stands. A lot of times we get
So
society.
you educate them on their expectations.
We don't start.
Do you educate them?
No,
Not in the beginning.
We share experience.
Okay.
It's pure experience sharing that is happening till the time they don't come to a point where we would like to then take it as a responsibility with us to drive their legal mandate effectively. After that, the education bit can start if they are ready to adopt the strategy that we are proposing to them, and why we are doing it. The why can come in thereafter, but in the beginning, the first phase is always about understanding in depth what they really are going through and experiencing, and then sharing with them some of the relatable case studies for them to evaluate their own position. Many a times,
So you show them the mirror, like this is what.
yeah, we give them
Because
understanding.
because sometimes I've seen clients at lawyers. I've got great lawyer friends. You're one of them. But I've seen great situations where the client comes, now he has cheated, but he feels cheated. And then it is a dilemma for the lawyer on how do you handle such a case or how do you handle such a client. So what do you do in such a situation?
Giving the 5-6 situations and how it's going to unfold in future is straightforward mechanism for them to understand, and I will like to then put it to them that if I was the lawyer for the other side, how I'm going to look at your case. So the devil's advocate angle gives them very clear understanding and idea how they will be treated in court and in dispute scenarios. Many of the situations that we get, we like to make them understand very clearly that before we get your mandate, we would like to give you a very clear understanding so that you can have a right expectation. And with right expectation, then we can do a mapping and we can lay down our milestones and the ultimate end goal that we want to achieve. In place like Mumbai, because the pendency of the cases and litigations, most of my clients, because of good or bad reasons, they have experienced courts and lawyers and litigation before. They know what to expect, and no case can conclude in 6 months, 1 year kind of time frame. So they are all ready for this test match angle rather than expecting something to happen like a 2020. And that's where first alignment is achieved with client. And many of the situations that we get involved into is conflict between management or two companies, or sometimes there is developer and there is society, or there is an investor and there is a company. And a lot of times as a lawyer, we have to actually try to see how we can resolve it without going to court, because till the time it is between you and the other counterparty as a situation, you have control. But the minute you put that into court, then you lost control. Then you are at the mercy of a third neutral party who is going to decide whether you like that decision or not. And then there is an appeal provision, but all that is going to take a lot of time. So we try to make client understand that right now you are still holding one good control part of this dispute, and how to work this out and resolve it effectively. You asked one question to Samir sir about one of the good clients that you learned from. Here my client made me understand one very interesting lesson. I'm actually coming from their office to this place. They are developers, and I've been part of their team as a legal team for last 9 years since my firm has started. They have done 35 plus projects with me. So I've seen life cycle of entire project start to end many times, and I've been part of their many crucial conversations and negotiations. And we saw many times the developer letting certain things go, although he was having good control position, but he used to let go some issues wherein other side used to make more money gain, or more amenities gain, or more area gain, or more time flexibility gain, or more penalty provision in their favor versus what my client would have. And if I compare that client's position versus several of other my developer clients, they were very egoistic and very hard on those points. So one day I asked this gentleman called Dr. Sangle, sir, why do you be so liberal? Why you end up giving all the time, where you could easily, say no and you can put your foot down? He made me understand one very simple thing, that in transactions and negotiation, you have to also leave something on the table for the other side. You cannot win every negotiation. Otherwise, soon you will not have any counterparty to negotiate with in future. So you got to make it as a win-win arrangement. And if your intent is clear, if you're going to deliver, and if you have a good track record and you have good team, all those penalty provisions and concerns and all are, psychological. You can always address them. If you have given your 100%, the same counterparty is going to come and support you. They'll not invoke, because their gain is momentary to have, but the long-term association relationship will also get value. So that stayed with me as a learning, and that I apply to many of our situations and conversation. That's why some of the clients that have come to us for dispute, we made them understand that let's not go into court. Sometimes we have discussed some situations like that, and then we end up making a much stronger bridge between those two parties who were once at the crossroads, and then a lot of good success stories come, and then they remember us, and then they invite us, and many other things happen.
So in my career, I love law, and in my career, because I do multiple businesses, so you have to love law. Otherwise, otherwise it will become a problem. So in one of my experiences, in one of the negotiations, it was a big transaction, a very big property development at near Parsi Colony, and the lawyer from our side was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Manish Parekh, and the name of his company is Purnanandan Company. I have never seen a lawyer who can negotiate so well on your behalf. And the opponent team was also a big, very big law firm, and the developer was a developer who had legal knowledge of all the lawyers put together. And in such a scenario, Mr. Manish Parekh, the way he negotiated the document, so at least 10 to 12 times the deal was on the brink of breaking away. It was collapsing, but he would again reconstruct it. And the way he really negotiated the document and the terms and conditions was a phenomenal job. So this is an experience that I got in the year 2009, 2010. And it is always fresh in my mind of a brilliant experience that I could see firsthand. And at that point of time, we all stayed silent, and he was the guy batting. So what is the best lesson that any of your client has taught you in your advertising agency?
Interesting. So, we learn from all our clients. That's the most
Absolutely.
important thing. And then you see a spectrum of clients. So there are some clients who know nothing, and then there are some clients who know everything, and then there are some clients who know a little bit, who are confused. I think the ones who don't know anything are the best clients, because they will take anything that you
Blank
give them.
slate, you write whatever.
You can write whatever, and they kind of give you a open canvas to do whatever. The ones who know everything are the worst clients, because they are resistant.
Then they are not clients, they are teachers.
Yeah, and you have to go and ask them, "Bhai, tujhe kya chahiye? Bol de, we'll make it and give it to you." Something like that. The ones who are in between also are interesting, because they are open in some ways but closed in some way. They help you work within what they want, and eventually, like our tagline is "Let's ideate." So that's how we like working with those clients who have some knowledge, and then they appreciate the additional value that you bring into them. So I think every client you learn something. I don't think there is like, oh, I learned so much from this. But every interaction, if you are a sponge, I think that's the most important thing. If you are a sponge and you take
Absorb.
in, then it really becomes a very win-win relationship for us.
Excellent, excellent. What would you like to share on that, Samir?
Again, I think similar, learning from everybody is very important. And I think the time when you think I know it all is the last day as a professional, right?
A lot of big players in your sector now, the wealth management services. Lots of big players. They've gone to the extent of even started to sponsor IPL matches and all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that is a sign of doing good business and moving towards getting better business.
I think affluent in India is growing.
Yes.
Right. So everything that affluent consumes and the wealth is going to grow. And we actually run like an accounting firm, and you'll be surprised that around 40% of the accounting firms in US are funded by private equity players. So that kind of consolidation will surely happen in India as
So
well.
is that an invitation or information?
That's an exploration. That's an exploration that we never say no to anything.
I'm sure many got the message.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So we are at the end of the session, and on a sweet note, there is a dessert, and Santé desserts are absolutely a very different experience altogether. So what's there on the table is a dark decadent brownie, and in this also we have got 6 to 8 grams of protein, and the calories are only 220. So it's a guilt-free dessert prepared with almond flour, coconut flour, and dark chocolate, offering fiber, healthy fats, and antioxidants. So that is the best part about this. And when you understand all of this, it absolutely becomes a treat to enjoy the dessert. There is absolutely no guilt whatsoever. So let's enjoy the dessert before the last round begins, where each one of you is now going to host the table and ask the questions to the balance four. We can start with Alim.
Thank you. Agnolo, I'd like to ask you. You said you invest in D2C businesses, right? And a lot of these businesses are startups. So, don't you think somebody who's building a business is better than building a startup?
So I don't do investments in startups. I invest in companies which have already started their revenue stream and who are doing a revenue of around 10 to 50 lakhs a month. In D2C, I have classified the business into two parts. One is back end, one is front end. Back end is the product, the inventory, and the logistics. Front end is the advertising, the marketing, and the customer acquisition cost. Every founder raises money for the front end, and they apparently end up losing money there because they burn more than what they should make, and that is where they lose their pants. So when people like me as a strategic investor, when we come on board, we regulate that and try to make sure that our customer acquisition cost is low enough for the business to sustain, grow, and expand.
Super.
So that is what I exactly do, and that's the reason I get into D2C, because like I said, all my life I've done service businesses. Now I don't want to service anymore. Product, no government approvals required, nothing. What are the basic requirements are there, but you don't have to be front facing to anything, and you can operate across the world. You can be having a backup in Mumbai and serve the whole world as a customer base. The products can reach them. The people don't have to come to you.
Correct. Fabulous.
So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Super. Bobby, this one's for you. If
You're
you're ready.
taking me away from this amazing dessert. It's okay.
I'll bring you back to it. If there was one property that you would want to live in, or one city you would want to live in, which one would that be? Because I can never solve that dilemma.
Two of them. One is New York, Manhattan, and the other one is Bangkok.
Bangkok. Or not
I've had an office there for quite some time, and my time spent there was very satisfying. And people know Bangkok for various reasons, but I'll talk about the other reasons that I found it to be very exciting. There's amazing art and craft still prevalent, where there are certain cultures where they still respect and they still polished it and they maintained it. Like Bali is also one of them. Italy is one of them. I also, somewhere down the line, I realized that these cultures have been able to preserve their culture and the art and craft is because they were not properly invaded by all the various cultures that came in and did whatever, looted
Oh,
them.
that's a great observation.
Imposed there. Okay, I realized that this was a common line between all this. Italy is so good in design because, since the Romans till now, they've always held fort. Some infighting between Florence and Venice, and like how we have in India, the small kings fought amongst them. That's minor stuff. They didn't come and completely impose a new culture, and the way the British, they sucked us dry. They didn't go through all that. We were completely at par. Perhaps we were more superior than them. The British came in, they destroyed our Gurukul system, they destroyed education, our universities, our industry, whether it was textiles or metallurgy, they destroyed everything. And we were 36% of the world GDP in those days.
Yeah.
Italy was also one of those.
Correct.
But they preserved it. So we lost. So similarly, I find this in Thailand, that they preserved right from the past, and they're still able to further improve their act, and I love to work with them, and I'm able to achieve excellence also with their help and craftsmanship in many of our projects. That's one. People are extremely hospitable. The food is mind blowing. The quality of life there in terms of value for money. You can get every possible world food of the highest quality at an affordable price. And the variety is mind boggling, more than I think any other place on planet Earth, by the way. And, and it's weather's like Bombay. In many aspects, it's like India also. You feel at home. There are many Indians there also who've been there since. They all have Thai names now. But they're originally
Lots
from
of
here.
Indians, Australians.
Yeah. No, I'm saying there are these Namdhari Sikhs there. They don't have Sardar names. They have Thai names.
Wow.
Like fourth generation and all that, and they're very extremely successful. So it's a big design base. There is great talent also available. So the reason I had an office there is because of the talent. Again, I had to shut it down because my uncle and my aunt who ran it, my uncle passed away, so my aunt had to come back. They're Thai citizens. And the New York was again a great thing because it is a cultural melting pot where that city has residents from all the 186 countries or whatever there are on planet Earth. I think it's represented by everyone. There's something great to learn from them. Every day there is hundreds of new things to do there. That's and the third city is Milan. Again, design capital of the world. The amount of talent and creative stimulation that one can get just by living there. I'm lucky that I'm able to even work with these people. But even if you're going there as an observer, there is so much to learn.
Lovely. Samir, AI is changing the whole thing. And what is your strategy now? Because, you can just upload all your financial data and, kind of get an analysis. And, large part of your business is the VCFO thing that you do. So then how will you pivot when, all the data is available and even the analysis is available?
Yeah. I think we have been thinking about it, and our journey has always been that be more dependent on technology and less on people. I think that thinking has to change because knowledge is now going to be commoditized. Everybody will have knowledge. What we will have to do, in my opinion, is bring in an experience and wisdom which is not there in AI. So even right now with AI, if you push AI, it says yes. If you counter it well, it will say no as well. So there is no opinion of its own, or there is no wisdom or experience that it brings on table. So I think that is going to be valuable for us. And second is be as close to the client so that we are actually like his financial brain. So, where, anytime he wants to take some decision, he knows that there is a financial brain operating with me. And I'm sure that even when AI becomes very big as well, people will work with people and people will depend on people. AI can be an enabler, something which you can use it like a second opinion, but people will always trust people around them because they know that they are not data, there is emotion. They know, the same kind of a risk for AI will give same answers to maybe you and Rahul, but a human will know how you look at risk versus how Rahul looks at it. And they will know how you operate under pressure versus how he operates. So those kind of things can come in only when, our experience with working with client closely will come with it.
Super. Thank you. And Rahul, this one is for you. So, when you're a simple middle class person like me, okay, we have a very weird or a very, perception that the court is a very dangerous place to go and you should stay away as far as possible from such kind of places. So what is your advice for people who are stuck but still don't want to approach the court?
I think knowledge is power, and if you have bit of knowledge about the law that is dealing with your situation, you will feel empowered to actually take the step to go and have conversation with 1, 2, 3 lawyers to assess your position, and very less likely then thereafter you will not take steps, because once you have awareness, then you know what to expect from the case or situation, how far you can go, what kind of budgets you're going to have, what is the right of the other person in that situation. So I think with YouTube, AI and all, people are already going to have a lot of knowledge. As Samir bhai mentioned, it is going to get commoditized, or already most of it is available. So if whenever you are encountering any such situation, you just have to do research. I think overnight when one can understand about their challenge problem, and next day they can send a proper note to their lawyer that this is my situation and how I can achieve my objective. According to me, this is 1, 2, 3, which is right, which is wrong. Let me know. This is the way the clientele of ours is going to operate in future, and that's what we are experiencing. And so, just get some knowledge, you can solve that problem.
Thank you, Rahul.
Samir can go next.
Yeah, so maybe again coming back to you, Rahul, we sit in a lot of disputes sometimes because we have been working with clients for sometimes more than 20 years, 25 years. We have brothers sitting there with father. Father is terrified that the sons are fighting with each other. They're in a common business, and very emotionally charged situation. And they ask us, "आप बताइए क्या करना चाहिए?" And we are nowhere there to tell what needs to be done. But a question to you is that when the going is well between founders, generally there are people who know each other, friends who are coming together. Everything looks very good when they start off their business. In your experience, what is one thing that anybody misses to do when they start off their business, which later on goes specifically for founders coming together, which later on goes and becomes a huge thing for them and ends into a dispute?
So if it's non-related individuals coming together, for them, the very first thing that they should ideally do, if they are forming a company for a business, or if they are already in a good business which is generating profit, salaries, and this and that, they should have someone as a consultant for them to start working on their business succession plan. And because business succession means what happens if something goes wrong with an individual, what happens when someone decides to exit, what happens with unfortunate situations, circumstances appear, what happens when regulatory rules, regulation are suddenly or not permitted to operate. So all these contingencies should be kept in mind, and there should be a business constitution for that company to be brought in. It could be business succession plan, it could be constitution, or it could be a rule book, or it could be a founders agreement, as simple as that. Wherein for every possible situation, there should be a solution so that nothing remains vague and people don't start, playing this dispute, litigation, or, creating problems and hurdles in business's growth. Ultimately, everyone is in the business for very simple reason. They want to make profits. The profit is going to get determined with the actions that founders, management, followed by their employees are going to take. All of that will generate some revenue, and ultimately, as per the shareholdings, it's going to get distributed. So the shareholders' interest is at the stake in the business ultimately. So how that can be kept as a paramount interest and how everything around that can be ring-fenced is something that's to look at. And when it comes to related individuals are operating together, there is a complication. Because father is terrified of sons. Sometimes there is an elder son who is doing superb things, and now the younger son sees that, my father and elder brothers are doing superb, they are earning well. Now I want to come in and stake my claim 50% on the business. And because his blood, father has limitation to say no to him. So for all of this situation also, there should be a family constitution connected to family as well as business. And there are some amazing case studies that are there in India where business owners and families have taken this very seriously. They sit because ultimately any business that family is driving together will affect the business's performance on their personal relationship also. So business no longer remains business, it becomes family business in house also. And if something goes wrong in the house, it will also affect your business. So you have to have a very good coordinated document which is derived by a neutral third party for you, and it is brought in an effective way where proper onboarding has happened for the family. And especially when new generation is coming in, you have to have an entry mechanism, eligibility criteria, how they will be able to climb the ladder to become the ultimate decision makers. And all of that, if it is done with a good intent, with intention to preserve the wealth that company has already created, it will be respected by every concerned family member. There are companies across India that are thriving basis of this document, and you have mechanisms to take money out for emergencies, weddings, expansions, verticals. Many things are happening, provided they are in adherence to the family constitution. And I think soon this is going to become a must to have document in all kind of businesses where more than one person is involved from same family. Family constitution also makes
And
huge
what happens
difference.
when the person dies, and then how stuff is distributed.
All
That's
of that
another
gets
important.
covered. Yes.
Many people don't address this,
And then it becomes a limbo later on.
yeah, and then he's passed away, and then he's left the family in a mess. So especially in large business houses, you must have faced this.
Anil Ambani, Mukesh
It
Ambani
applies
has
to both of you. These kind
That's
of
the role
situations.
models.
Dhirubhai Ambani's case study is the role model. He
Hmm.
never left a will behind
Oh, really?
to leave a problem that ultimately went to courts, and we have witnessed all of that and how it got resolved ultimately.
But I've seen large businesses eroding value because the founders can't come on a table to discuss, or there is no guiding document. So thanks for this, Rahul. This is for you, Angelo, Rajesh. So, the name Richard Branson keeps coming to me because we started with that example. And after that, I see you who's running 22 businesses, right? And this is mind-boggling, for you to run 22. And you started off by running St. Angelo's as your own company. And when you run something as your own company, you're completely in control on the direction of speed of your company. Now, when you do 22 businesses, you are effectively working with 22 co-founders or entrepreneurs running it. So, how much do you want to control them? How much do you don't want to control them? Is there a governance on top of it? Are they required to? Do you want to be participative in the business, or you are completely hands off?
Everything is preset. Like how we discussed about the document for the family, I create a working document for the founder. And after that, I give him complete freedom with parameters which are preset with consent. So the blueprint is drawn on day one. There cannot be any afterthought. One of the most dangerous word in the field of law is afterthought. कि बाद में मुझे ऐसा समझ लगा, बाद में मैंने ऐसा समझा. So I thrash it off in the first go itself. After that, I set up a document in place on what is my role and responsibility, what is your role and responsibility. If he wants additional funding from me, what can get him that additional funding without having a conversation with me? So I set mathematical parameters in advance, well in advance, that these are the milestones that you need to achieve. If you achieve these milestones, you don't have to talk to me. You have to make a call to the accounts department, the money will be transferred. So it is as smooth as that. I don't interfere and indulge into his role, and my role is on its own, very effectively being done. So my role is only to spend and invest money in the advertising, marketing and customer acquisition. In that, any day I will be better than any individual founder with whom I'm working. So I take complete charge and responsibility of that because I'm at the risk. So the model that I have devised is a beautiful model in D2C businesses where the D2C founder gets protected from all sides once he enters into an agreement with me. Now, in D2C founders also, I don't go for a fresh founder. There are a lot of businesses which have come out with a new business model out of their existing infrastructure. So they are not making those products for me. Those products are anyways being made. He has just started one more brand. So I'm more comfortable to work with such founders because their backend is super strong. The new entity might be 10% of their overall strength. So even if one product is being sold, he will get an assured profit. Whereas I am exposed to risk. My advertisement spend in the beginning might not be recovered from the initial sales. It might take some time. So the game is, for me, it's a gestation period. For me, it's a homeopathic treatment. I will start getting results after a particular period of time. I will lose money in the beginning, then I will break even, and then I will start making money. But my company, the founder in whom I have invested, he will make money even if one sale takes place. And he is not going to maintain inventory specifically for me or for that new business model. The inventory is already a part of his existing overall business which is going on. So it becomes a super win-win for him. The bonus in the bargain is the valuation of the new entity that we create, because he is also an equity holder in that new entity. So valuation is a super bonus. So I try to create operating profits, which is very difficult in the D2C arena. Very difficult to create profits. But the model that I have structured, and I have structured this, we are the only people in the world who operate this way. Rahul knows it in and out because the structuring of the document is being done by him. So it is a very unique format. I cannot damage him. He will not damage me because I am giving him growth. So collectively we work together towards building the valuation. For an entrepreneur, what is the provident fund? The valuation. Operating profits are fluctuating salaries. Otherwise, the real money, the real provident fund is coming out of the valuation of the company. So the objective is to take every company to the stock market and get it listed. That is the whole game plan.
Wonderful. Great. Very, very inspiring to hear this. Next question is to you, Bobby. Bobby, you work with the rich and the super rich. I come from the wealth money background. So just want to understand when you work with them so closely, how do they look at money, their money habits? What have you observed about them? Because all throughout their life they've mostly accumulated, and when they sit with you, they're actually wanting to spend. So anything that you see differently?
Many of these large companies or individuals will end up becoming their biggest spenders. I noticed.
Yeah. That's
You
a
have a good
question.
expenditure account to them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming to us because they want to spend, but they want to spend judiciously. So it's not wasteful expenditure. And the projects that we make, they have earned it through whatever their businesses might be, but now they've reached a situation where they want to enjoy that wealth. So one of the biggest expenses that a family or a business can incur is either building your own large residence or your head office or hotels or a large investment in big real estate. So these figures are pretty mind-boggling. It's not 10, 20, 30 crores. It goes into hundreds and perhaps even thousands of crores.
Yeah.
And but I don't see any of them being foolish about their expenses. It's always very, very calculated, and the reason they are successful in their business is because they have managed to earn that money the hard way.
Right.
So they know that when they are spending it on this project, they do spend it judiciously, and they land up, because I see them, when the execution happens. One of my jobs is to, we do the specifications, for every big, large project. Say it's a large, grand, luxury 5-star hotel. There are 1,200 purchase orders for one project. I have to finish the project in 3 to 4 years. Even they have to finish. It's a joint.
Yeah.
That means you can imagine how many purchase orders per day.
Right.
If you divide that.
Chances of going lakhs is going to be very high sometimes.
Yeah. So
3 invoices per day minimum.
Yeah.
exactly. So you can imagine the amount of brain work, calculation, negotiation, and little bit also if they go slack, you will overrun the budget. So they're very smart in terms of procuring all these things. What I might sometimes get better deals than what even I can get.
Wow.
I tell them I need these things. This is what I think my known people will get. But if you can get anything better, please go ahead. And sometimes I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the pricing, especially some of the ones from Gujarat. It's mind-boggling the way they know how to do value engineering to a project, where they are able to build the same project at minus 35%.
Wow. That's
Compared to the rest of the whole country. Yeah?
So then their ROI, they already have a heads up to make more money than anybody
I
else.
am amazed at the magic, and they have a support system within that state. It's not like they're looking elsewhere in India and abroad for things. They're super smart. I learn from that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tell my other clients, ये देखो इनको, ये कहाँ से ये चीज लाया, अब उनसे बात करो, आपका भी भला होगा उसमें. So things like that happen. So they're very smart.
Right. Very interesting.
They would not be there, And even an important client like IHCL, they have, they looks like the big grand hotels, but there is always, figures involved that you have to finish this luxury 5-star deluxe hotel at within this amount, and come what may, because the board has approved only this, so that everyone's in line. There's not one thing that you can
Override.
overspend, because it'll affect the overall figure.
Right.
So so it's not easy. So in order to achieve luxury within the budgets, it's a difficult game.
Yeah. So luxury with judicious spending.
Yes.
Is
So
the mantra.
it's not fully left to me. It's a team effort. Yes, I lead the project, but I do depend heavily on all these stakeholders. Even they all have their own inputs.
Very nice. Very interesting. Thanks. So this one is for you, Alim. We finance guys, whenever we book marketing, it goes into a profit and loss account.
Yeah.
Right. So for us, marketing as a spend is an expense.
Yeah.
While we at a strategic level understand that marketing is actually an asset.
Yeah.
But we wear the wrong hat sometimes, or maybe this is the only hat we have been taught. So if for a business owner, who has to spend money on marketing, what's your take in terms of spend on brand building and its long-term value for a business?
Yeah. Okay. See, there's a difference between marketing and there's a difference between branding. Now, marketing is short term, which means that you'll do marketing, you'll expect immediate ROI. But brand is long term. So, what actually sells, you would know this, is the brand. It's not just the operations, it's not just the people. Sometimes it's the brand that sells. So, if you look at it from that way, it is a 100% ROI giving asset that you are building. So, you look at expense, income, and then you also look at investment. I would want to look at everything that you do in marketing as investment. Now, contrary to what we think, marketing means going and putting an ad out there. It's not like that. So everything that you do is marketing, which means in a restaurant, an after mint is marketing. In like say a law firm, even how the proposal goes is marketing.
That's
In a architectural firm, the envelope that your proposal goes in is marketing.
True.
So everything is marketing actually, and everything is branding also. So if you look at it from that perspective, you'll realize that whether you like it or not, you are doing marketing. Now, if you do it right, there's always a better way to do it. So I would want to look at it not just as a separate advertising marketing that I need an agency wala thing, but you actually need to look at it in your day-to-day, how you dress up, how you speak, how your presentation looks, how your stationery looks, how your website looks. All that is marketing. So if that's everything and that's the first thing that people are going to notice about you, you might as well consider it an investment.
I think it's your business way of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Halim.
Rahul.
Oh, tough one. So I'll start with Samir Bhai. Samir Bhai is very good at summarizing whole complex situations and scenarios. So Samir Bhai, from today's conversation, if you have to give one takeaway that you are going to give it to your clients who could be from pharma, how they should now see marketing as an agenda-based thing when they have to discuss budgets with you, how you would guide them to look at marketing and what kind of formula or parameters now you're going to give them so that they are more open towards hiring Alim Bhai next time when they are going for the business.
I think what Alim spoke is like a better pitch to somebody who would understand that. But again, my more learning right now is that marketing has two parts to it. One is the lead gen part and one is the brand building part of it. So brand building, somebody who is, so every organization is a live organism, right? So if that organism needs to grow, something like brand building or something like the way of doing business needs to be constantly invested in. The time you stop investing in that, it will start decaying, is my understanding, and this is what I'm going to be talking about. And lead generation is the lifeline of business, because unless you have lead gen, you will not have sales. Unless you have sales, there are no margins and no cash flows. So I think if I go to a client, I can sell Alim services very easily for both lead gen as well as branding.
I'm hiring you. I can't afford you. That's a different thing.
So for Alim, like how Sir has made his strength, Agnilo Rajesh Sir has made his strength into a strategic investment, customer acquisition and marketing. Now that you are into marketing, do you see yourself bringing that kind of a way forward to become a partner in somebody else's business and start working with more skin in the game? And has this conversation given you any kind of other approach as a food for thought to kind of take this from here and bring it to your two other partners to develop some new strategies, and what could be those?
So, no, Rahul, I think that's a great question, and I'll tell you why. So today, people use AI and create their own marketing platforms, their own marketing material and things like that. Obviously, there'll be fatigue coming on that, and that's a different topic. But what I've really seen is that now agencies will have to change their approach to say that I genuinely believe in your product. I genuinely think that the plan that I have will change the business for you. It will give you a delta, and I am invested in that business not just with my stakes, but with my time, my effort, my energy, and my passion. So if people see that in you, and it's not just money on the table, but if they see that you're investing all the other allied things also, they are going to kind of work with you. So we definitely, while creativity is one thing on the table, and what we deliver is one thing, and leads is one thing, and actual measurable things are one thing. One thing that they always look for is, do you believe in my business as much as I believe in yours, or I believe in mine? So in that case, they're looking for that strategic partner. And if you have that, then you have a business model in place.
I can just add, I have been investor in some of these businesses, with a similar role that, these are passionate technocrats. I put in some money and bring in my financial oversight and have my skin in the game as well. So I think what you asked him resonates a little bit with me as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'm trying to do that as well in some ways. Few startups, few companies that are again taking law firm as a service very seriously. We try to stay aligned and we try to play a long-term game with them, and that has been very insightful process also. Now you have a different vision and way to look at their small to big moves, and you pick up on a lot of trends from that. So that again gives you more insights to pitch somewhat similar kind of business
Correct.
to get your clientele to around.
Yeah.
Bobby, I want to ask you this. You mentioned 3 cities, you mentioned 2 professions, out of which, painter and design, you moved more into design. I always wanted to be an architect.
Really? Wow.
And,
From judo to law to architecture.
To investor.
But they're one of the Japan's biggest architect. He was a boxer.
huh? Wow.
Tadawando. He's like guru of design, and he was a boxer that became an architect.
So, Bobby, for you, it's a very personalized talent that you have. Do you see any way in which you can democratize this and pass it on? Your sons are also joining your business soon, and they've gone.
You've already at it.
They have already in it after Milan's.
I think Milan is being handled by your son.
Yeah, eldest sons.
So,
And my younger son's also in Italy, so he takes care of all the business, admin, legal, all the other aspects of the business.
like the specific question then is, how do you transfer the knowledge to them? What is the process that you have so that
To them,
to your sons,
Huh.
so that they can continue the legacy of Bobby Mukherjee and Associates and reach out to 10 other, 15 other, 20 other cities across globe to take the style and vision that you have already given to many of the iconic projects.
it's not easy, and it's a continuous process, and it started really early, which I think I'm reaping the fruits now, that since I've been a single father and I've raised them myself, so they have traveled extensively with me. They have seen a lot than an average kid, because otherwise they would be normally sheltered by mama, and so like them along with a nanny and everyone traveled with me, and they saw a lot, and they saw projects getting implemented at an early age. Their interaction with clients, people, like a large part of my life is to do with the people I work with. I don't have so much of a social life. Work-life balance thing is not really happening with me. So most of my friends are people I work with, and they are the ones they have been exposed to, and they have seen some amazing success stories also, because they have seen them what they were 15 years ago and now where they are, and we have been part of their journey. So they've observed all that, and there are a lot of inspiring stories, and they see that they've been able to interact with really important people at an early age, including heads of state, that they're able to, or if there is a whole government delegation coming and I need to discuss with the head of state about something, I don't want to be distracted with the rest of the gang. I would tell them that, can you please keep them all busy, for some time, and young guys, and they've kept them, like engaged and properly, and I've been able to conduct my discussions and stuff like that. So it's they've had an exposure at a very early age, and then I can see it now getting translated into the way they when I delegate things to them on their own, they're able to take things forward. in a really nice way, in a mature way.
What are their names?
Shaunak and Krish. I have a daughter as well, called Ariana, and but she's not in my line of work. Yeah. She's not. She's still a kid though.
Great. As I said, I always wanted to be an architect, so I'm going to use that knowledge transfer process also to see if I can get some learnings from you.
Yeah, but I foresee that it's going to be a never-ending process. That it is such a vast subject, and there's so much to learn. Not just in terms of admin, there's so much of design involved, technicalities involved, people handling, legal disputes, issues, financials, tax laws. Basically we're working across various geographies, so a lot of things come up. So it's also a learning experience that they're also learning along with me now.
Nice. Sir, to the host. So 2-3 things I want to capture in this one broad questions. One, what drives you to do so many things in a day? I got partially the answer of ADHD and all, but I still think there is a lot more to add on to that. What motivates you to call 4-5 business owners, professional to do
22.
this? 22 businesses. Plus, sir, you were always ahead of the time and curve. St. Angelo Computers was there when nobody knew about computers. According to you, what is that one thing now we should be really looking at, which is yet to hit the market, and we should pay attention to, which can become the next computer or next AI or website kind of thing 10 years down the line?
So AI is going to be a game changer. It's going to be an enabler, and it's going to be a great performance tool. So people now really need to equip themselves with the knowledge of AI, not only of how to use it, but how to get it adapted to the business model and the business processes that they are into. Whether it is architecture, whether it is wealth management, whether it is advertising, in everywhere, it's going to be the next big thing. You will be empowered with your questions being answered, and you will also be empowered with questions that you are not going to ask but still getting answered. So information is at your fingertips. Now, how do you leverage that and create a business model out of it is going to be the next big game. One is, I know what is a gap in the market, and second is, what can I predict can be the gap in the market, or a gap which is not seen by anybody but I can see it and I'm doing it. That kind of a concept. Like, for example, Santé Spa Cuisine. Santé Spa Cuisine is a restaurant. The Table Talks at Santé is building a community for Santé. So it's reaching out to more number of people. Now we'll take a feedback of how they think about this particular brand and implement it in the business model. Also, what is going to be happening is leveraging is going to be the buzzword for the new world that is going to be taking shape. So any business that you want to do on the assets of that same business is going to be very difficult to operate. So now kahin pe nigahein, kahin pe nishana is going to be the name of the game. What you can do with one activity which can support 3 more activities and create additional revenue flows or revenue streams. Now that's going to be critically important, and that's what smart businessmen are doing. Like, if you take any top 5 industrialists in the world today, they're all doing that. You take the case of Mukesh Ambani. No more Reliance is an oil company. Reliance is today a data company. Data is their new oil. But with that data, what all are they doing? They're also controlling the psychological mechanisms of human beings through Jio Hotstar and internet availability, and partnering with Facebook over here, and then partnering with your mobile satellite mobile facilities, which is going to come in with the help of Elon Musk. So one activity, and they are getting into all the businesses. They exactly know who wants what, when, where. Even the person doesn't know that he needs this. But when he will see it being provided somewhere, and that somewhere will be by Reliance, he will buy it. So demand creation is not only what you know that the customers want. Demand creation is also what the customer also doesn't know he wants it. Now whoever can predict that will be the next winner. I don't have any need, but suppose suddenly I see an ad on the internet and I said, oh, I never realized that this existed. I always wanted this, and I buy it. So today it's going to be the spend economy. People are buying what they don't even need, and people are buying when they buy and they create the requirement around that. So it is becoming more impulsive. People are becoming, mankind is becoming more impulsive. Instantaneous decision. Once upon a time, we used to plan to buy a car. We used to plan to buy a house. Today, we take sudden decisions, instant decisions. But that is nothing but a lot of things working in our subconscious mind. So the next business model is somebody who can read the subconscious mind of the people without they knowing what is there in their subconscious. And then selling it to them.
Amazing.
I think
That
with
is the next game.
With quick commerce, I had that feeling because when quick commerce, my original thought was that who would need something in 10 minutes, right? You all have your kirana guys around and you can always get something. But then this completely surprised me in terms of how people got onto it, and now it's become like a habit.
It's a rage. The demand is so much that to get listed on the quick commerce also there is a queue.
Yeah.
50%.
Yes.
So this
Revenue.
instant thing that you are telling is like the human behavior. Everything, if it's in instant, I would want to have it.
So I do a lot of content on mobile, selfie content, right? Whenever I think something is good, I just share that content. I must be having 12 selfie sticks now with different permutations, combinations. One can be stuck on the wall, one can be stuck on the glass, one has magnetic, can be stuck anywhere where there is iron, one can have a control within the stick with a light. So, and all those products are not coming together, they come in phases. And every time you are going on buying, same is happening with the cars, same is happening with the houses.
Right.
So your wants are increasing, and subconsciously you are actually working for those wants even without realizing what you want.
Right.
So subconscious mind readers who is going to win. Mukesh Ambani is exactly doing that. He is reading the subconscious minds of the population of the country. That's why they are having roaring success. They're into films, they're into data, they're into oil, they're into infrastructure, they're coming into real estate. They will be one of your clients because they want people like you to make them spend more and implement big vision. Big vision. Because when you can develop a 10,000 acre of a Sahara city years back when you're just 28, just imagine, they have the imagination of what you can do on a 50,000 acres of land today because you've been there, done that. So they are actually playing this game so well, that's why they are winners.
Right. So,
Sir, and one last question. The 3 recent businesses of D2C that you invested in, why?
Oh, okay. So there is this brand called Suganlok. It's a incense sticks factory company. They are one of the largest players in the country, Santé International. So with them, we realize that India culturally is a very religious country, irrespective of which religion you come from. So Agarbatti became any business model where there is repeat business order has great valuation. Any habit cultivating product is a great business model, is a great valuation business. And fragrance in a warm country, the bad odor is so much that to enlighten your mood or to change the atmosphere in the place of work, worship or home, you'll need fragrances. So it can be a dhoop, it can be an agarbatti or any fragrances that are required. So I thought that this is the best model. So we got into that. Second is a company called Bod Active. Bod Active is a gym wear. So in the gym wear, what is very interesting is the whole country has become health conscious. Currently, Bod Active is only for the females. Very shortly, we are launching the men's range. The advantage of the female segment is because every female, if she likes one fit, she buys all colors. Unlike a man, he'll not do that. He'll buy 2 colors of t-shirts and 2 colors of half pants. That's it. Or track pants. That's it.
Yeah, mostly black.
Yeah, mostly black. So,
And repeat.
so Bod Active is another brand, and now we are launching our own jewelry brand. So we'll be getting into jewelry in the next 30 days. Real gold jewelry, 9 carat, 14 carat and 18 carat with lab grown diamonds. Hallmarked, all hallmarked. So guaranteed of the quality because it is a government regulation. But what's most interesting is we are launching Santé at home. Santé at home means hampers and grazing tables will come to your place of convenience. Plus we are coming into packaged foods in the year 2027. So all D2C is the zone in which I am experimenting and focusing on. A very interesting investment that we have done is in content monetizing. We are one of the largest content monetizing companies in the country where we monetize content on YouTube. So YouTube teaches you something. YouTube teaches you that the customer is somebody else and the consumer is somebody else. Like for example, when he went for an education loan For the university, he is the consumer, but his parents are the customer. Right? So YouTube does it that way. So the person who's consuming the content, he's getting it free. So he's not paying for it. But the people who are showing advertisements through YouTube to that person who's watching it free is the customer.
Right.
कहीं पे नहीं गए कहीं पे निशाना. तो YouTube का customer is the advertiser and not the consumer. And the consumer gets it free. Now, if you can set up this kind of a model in any business, it's a roaring business. Any business where you can divide the customer from the consumer is a great business to have. Like a school.
Pharma industry works like that.
Pharma industry works like that. But like a school, like the student is the consumer and the parent who's paying the fee is the customer.
Right.
So this kind of a business model is a great business to be in.
Interesting. Huh? Wow.
Thank
Amazing
you.
analysis. Never thought that way.
Bobby.
Coming to you about understanding the pharmaceutical business, there was a real success story with the marketing plan of when Viagra came out by Pfizer. That was a great story, right?
Yeah.
Something else like that?
Lots of them actually. So if you see recently the weight loss drugs,
Yes.
yeah, that's a big story. I mean, who would have thought that a pharmaceutical drug would become the talk of the town? Today we know the brand names Ozempic, Wegovy, Monjaro, and things like that. When was the last time you heard of a brand that every single person kind of knew? And weight is such a thing that it affects 80% of the population in the country. So, and not just the country, the world. And it is also termed as the next big epidemic, which means obesity. Now, obesity is such a huge problem because obesity is not just obesity. It comes with every single metabolic disorder, which means diabetes, hypertension, cardiac issues, things like that. So, to attack something like that and to build a case study just on a pharmaceutical drug, which, is not taught to the doctors, but taught to the patients first. So, it goes from company to patient, and patient goes and asks the doctor, I want to take this. So these are the case studies. Viagra went to a similar thing. They went from company to consumers, and then consumers went to doctors and said, can I take this? So that's where exactly what you were also saying, kahin pe nigaah hai, kahin pe nishana.
So, and what I've been hearing about this Ozempic and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That they did figure out later on that there were a whole lot of side effects.
Yeah.
So is that true?
So every drug would come with its side effects.
Serious side effects that they were saying that a lot of new
there will be side effects with
deterioration
everything.
happening.
Yeah. But remember one thing that
So when you know they're going to be all this stuff, or what, as you being a conscious marketing expert, and you know that there is something probably fishy about the side effects, so how do you handle that situation?
See, actually, every brand that you take comes with a side effect. It's not just a medicine. Even a car comes with side effects. So everything comes with its pros and cons. It's not that, if you're making a plate also, you can kill somebody with a plate, right? So it's not like that. What also happens in the pharma industry, it's very competitive. So somebody else hypes up the side effect more than actually is required. So if you actually study the case study, you'll realize 1 in a million kind of people get it. But then the hype is bigger than that. So one person suffers, and then everybody is.
So in other words, it's still a popular.
I am not the right person to advocate for that, and I won't.
Yeah. Okay.
But they've showed phenomenal results in people.
And marketing played a big role in all this, right?
I think yes, marketing and PR played a very big
awareness. Question to you, talking again, coming back to 22 businesses. I'm sure every morning you have to wake up and think about all 22 of them. Like, where are they? It's like having 22 children and you let them out, on a day out to someone's going to play football, someone's going to school, someone's gone traveling outside.
Someone's skipping the school.
Yeah, someone's not going to school, and So how do you? And you did mention that you have some systems in place where where they all have to follow the parameters and stuff. I mean, is that so foolproof that you completely rely to that system that you do not have to monitor it on a daily basis?
So monitoring happens on a daily basis because updates keep happening. And when things go wrong, those are visible before they go wrong also. And some founders also go rogue and they suffer.
Yeah. So
They go
there
rogue
will be
and they
some.
suffer. Yeah. So either I get revenues or I get lessons. So there are some lessons which improve my model furthermore. So there were two founders in whom I had invested 4 years back. And I was the guy who, so I'm a one meeting guy. I don't take second meeting for deciding one decision. If you don't decide in that meeting, the deal is off the table. So I decided in that case also, and second day the check was paid. The mistake was there were two founders, they fought between themselves and the business started getting ruined from there itself. And I paid them the money. The funny part is majority of the companies which get funded get folded up faster than those companies who don't get funded, because they become frugal and they fight for every rupee. When you get funded, your decisions become very liberal.
So how does
So-
that affect your investments
So
and
after
plans?
that, the investments became milestone based and not ad hoc. You get me? So if you want money to acquire a customer, I will put money for only customer acquisition process. I will not put money for inventory, for logistics, for production, new design. No. That is what you have to be ready with. The rest of the journey will be taken care by me, although I am exposed to risk. Suppose if I put a campaign of 1 crore of rupees and I do a revenue share and an equity share. But suppose if I put a campaign of 1 crore of rupees and that campaign has given me only 60 lakhs return in my revenue share, I've lost 40 lakhs. So then I have oil in my eyes to make sure that I don't do the wrong customer acquisition strategy. Otherwise, it is my tuition and not that founder's tuition. So I am responsible for the investments that I'm making. But when I give the money to the founder, then I'm at his mercy and his intellect on how he is going to decide what will work, what will not work for him. So my mechanisms of money control changed. The funny part of money is, जिसके जेब में पैसा वो उसका मालिक है. There is no separate classification, right? ये 500 की नोट मेरे जेब से आपके जेब में गई तो आप मालिक, आपके जेब से मेरे जेब में आई तो मैं मालिक. That is the funny part of money. So instead of giving control of the money, I take control of the process and invest the money there. So that's why I'm constantly in control of what's happening. Wherever I have invested money ad hoc, I've got surprises. And that is not only me,
Right.
it is with everybody who has been an investor. But if you become a part of the process and being a strategic investor, so I've written a book. It's called Capital Beyond Funding. It's going to be released in the next 2-3 months. I'm just finally finishing it. Capital Beyond Funding, where what a founder needs is money, influence, ecosystem, and experience. And I come with all four. So the ad that any one of you would buy, my ad will be cheaper than that. Forget about cheaper than that. My purchase of media is so economical that the owner of that media will not get that price. He might get it free, or if he has to pay, he will not get the price that I have got. So that is the power of negotiating when you are doing it on a scale. When you are doing it on a scale. Like for example, now this content that we made, this content is not going to go only on my own platforms, but this content is going to go on some other media platforms also. Established media platforms, which will improve the distribution of this content at terms that are impossible for anybody to even fathom. Forget about they getting close to what it is, but beyond that. But that is the power of bulk buying. Where you're a bulk buyer, so I'm a part of a chamber. We have traveled to 92 countries in the last 20 years. What that traveling taught me was that when 45 people travel together in a place like Europe, your cost per head becomes 1/6 of what you would have otherwise paid if you would have
my
gone on
God.
your own.
Oh my God! Wow.
It becomes 1/6. So that taught me the power of bulk. And when you are having the power of bulk, your negotiation changes dramatically. So that is what I do in all the businesses. The profit is in the buying, not in the selling, is one golden rule that all of us should live by. You cannot make profit from your customer. You can make profit from your vendor. If I am buying from you, then I have to benefit more than you from my transaction. If he is buying from me, he has to benefit more than I benefit from him. Only then there is a market. In simple words, if I have to sell gold at the price of gold, there is no market. If I want to sell gold at the price of silver, there is a huge market. How do you build that value proposition is the game. So it is all resource management. How you can bring the resources at the table. Like
So
if,
do you have a big manpower that helps you do the analysis on a daily basis?
so I used to have a 640 people team. Today I have
Wow.
a 22 people team.
Okay.
Just 22
Okay.
people team.
Okay.
In the next 5 years, I just want to have a 4 people team. 2 chartered accountants and 2 lawyers. That's it.
I guess AI will be playing a role too.
AI is already playing a big role.
Hence from 600 to 22 and 22 to 4.
Four.
I'm happy in the last 4 there is 1 CA and 1 lawyer. we're still relevant.
So it's all going to be professional because what is happening is I connect the resources to the business models, and all these resources are independent organizations.
Right.
Like for customer acquisition process, I've got tech company in which I've got investments. I'm an equal equity holder in that company. So that takes care of all the advertising, marketing and customer acquisition. So technically it is my company, but it is not my responsibility. It is the responsibility of the founder of that entity who's taking the day-to-day operations. Like I'm a partner with Santé, but operations is not my responsibility. But growth is my responsibility. Opening up new locations, striking deals, bringing celebrities on board as brand ambassadors, getting resources at economical prices, all that is my role. And I excel in that because I have built an ecosystem. As entrepreneurs, the one lesson every entrepreneur should learn is more than collecting money or revenues, you should focus on collecting relationships, because ecosystem will never fail you. Money will fail many times. There are so many things which cannot happen by money, but with the right phone call. So this ecosystem plays a very critical role in making my acquisitions economical so that I can sell economically. Then only there is a market. So that is how I've got this structure.
Nice to learn from you and hearing all this. Because usually I'm on the other side of the fence just doing creative work, and I'm not exposed to such kind of discussion. So it's quite an eye opener for me. Rahul, to you, I've seen when it comes to redevelopment projects in Mumbai, like there's a huge number of projects that are in a mess. And earlier we spoke about the middle class, who are invariably affected by this. It's their projects that goes, their households that undergoes redevelopment, and they all foolishly dive into it. I've seen he's been of huge support in the past, and
Yes.
I depend on him because of his integrity, and I know that I can trust him, and there are many others who I could not. So now, luckily, I found you through friends, contacts, and all that. But there's so many out there who are in this. They jumped into it without even going through all those proper due diligence and the right process, and they didn't have legal support like you. And as you know, that I think 80 or 85% of the redevelopment projects, the developers usually partner with that society. The large part of it is through dubious, fishy means by which the developer feels really comfortable in working. Then only they die, because I'm often on the other side of the fence with the developers, and I'm witness to many. So how do we? I mean, there is RERA also, but as we can see, that it's been quite toothless. So how do you create, and what do you advise to the residents or the citizens of Bombay who are going to be undergoing all this without them knowing that what are they going to get into? How do you educate them? How do you make them realize that they're about to jump into a fire? And middle class people, many of them are very gullible. They just trust their neighbors blindly, and they think that ye mere bade bhai hai, ye mera uncle jaisa hai, they'll do everything. Because I did the same. I trusted some people blindly, and I saw where it got me. So as to not to repeat this and there are going to be many hundreds of such projects about to come. What is the advice? How do you make them aware?
So I think for redevelopment, the problem starts where, as you rightly said, blind trust. Even for societies to decide whether they are actually ready for redevelopment or not, it is done on gut feel and trust basis, where few members think my neighboring plot is going for redevelopment, or somebody approached and this is a good opportunity for redevelopment. And first they decide and then they start with the formality. Ideally, the process is first you should assess, have a consultant, architect only to draw feasibility or only to do structural strength pertaining check whether their building structure is weak, which cannot be repaired, and that's why redevelopment is required. Or they should get some feasibility assessment done to see what is the upside for them to go through the hardship of 4 or 5 years of exile mode kind of thing, where they go out and then again they have to come back. Very few societies actually do this.
Right.
First they get offer, then they get the guidance from the developer who is giving the offer, that you should go to this PMC or you should have this lawyer and they will sort out everything. Anyways, I have to pay, so trust me, they'll do the good job. That's what message societies members get, especially those who are in front to deal and negotiate with the developer. So there are situations and there are some misunderstandings. There are situations where sometimes definitely some societies experience that some members are corrupt and they are getting compromised and they are doing some direct dealings for themselves. But there are many situations where other society members who are not actually paying attention to the actual discussion, negotiation, and they don't participate in all meetings. They are all under some assumptions, and they have half information, half big thoughts and opinions, with which they create more problems for redevelopment. So idea is you first assess yourself, get a good team prepared for yourself, where you should have your own PMC, your own lawyer, your own architect, your own chartered accountant. They should be your strongest pillars, and thereafter you open your doors for developers to submit good offer, evaluate those offers with industry standard, neighboring plot or adjacent area pertaining the recent redevelopment that is done, and then very qualitative approach to select developer basis of his past record also. We have a society which is doing 6 to 8 months of research work only to decide the best developer out of the 4 developers which they decided 3 months back, and these 4 were out of the 23 developers which they had received offer from. And now the 4 developers decision review is happening at a level where everyone's balance sheet is checked. All the projects are visited by their PMC and 2 redevelopment committee members, and there are feedbacks of the residents who are staying to see after completion what was the feedback, what is the support, what is the problem, because invariably some or the other project will suffer some after construction challenges, problems. But whether developer is available to resolve that, whether developer has taken good care, whether developer has brought the old members and new society flat purchasers together effectively. So all those experiences, if you collect proper information about, then society can definitely get a good partner. And a lot of developers who are not in the business of doing good work will get eliminated by itself.
Right.
And society members also at the same time should have very limited expectations. Just because somebody claims that they have got so much of FSI, that doesn't mean every plot will get that. Somewhere developers who are not in serious business for redevelopment, they give a very flashy offer to convince.
And they will fall for it.
And the developers who are in regular business, they give very moderate offer, but they can actually deliver it in timely manner. So society members' expectation also should have a very reasonable levels. If these 2 things are done, open approach and get good information and have a limited and reasonable expectation and have a good tight compliance of your document, then redevelopment is a process which can be successfully completed. We are working with good developers, we have represented societies, it is achievable. And there are unfortunate scenarios where dispute happens. So then society should take quick decisions also. If there is a dispute, they should not just sit on it and hope some corporator, some MLA, some people will come together and will represent their interests and they do rounds of discussion. If there is a dispute, you invoke your provision. If it is not working out, you take it to the court. Imagine not just societies, even GVK was doing airport project, there were disputes with Airport India Authority. That doesn't mean they stopped the work. There are contracts, you have your disputes getting resolved separately, but you continue to perform. So there should be some wording arrangements in that where work should not suffer. If there is a dispute, you resolve it, but parallelly work should continue. And if there is no work happening, then you should have enough control to replace the developer. Societies are petrified of changing the developers. So if you see this developer is not doing anything good for you, go for the change. If he has done considerable amount of work, try to understand his problem, try to have a partnership arrangement in which you solve that problem and you can move ahead. So these are solved problems. There are good examples of societies have done. Sir has done multiple projects of redevelopment in city. And we have learned many things from many of the good developers that we are working around. I mentioned Vaibhav Lakshmi and Dr. Sangle earlier also. There are good role models, projects which are there, which are completed before time also. Ultimately, developer wants to finish before time. He saves a lot of money on rent and corpus and many other things also. At the same
But
time,
still, there are so many cases where they fall into the ditch because that society did not take all precautions, and there's so many there. So I just wish that there be some mechanism by which
I
they're
have-
all educated, to
I have written a book on that.
so they should all
54
read that book.
I
Should
will-
reach out to
I'll-
everyone, who that's getting into it.
It'll be eye openers.
Yeah, and
That was one of the intent. Those who cannot reach out to lawyer or law firms, they can just open that book and find which stage they are at, and they can see must to do steps in a very simple way, and it's available everywhere. Idea is you should have some interest in your own society's redevelopment. Unfortunately, there are only 5% people who are interested. 95% are just blindly following. People should have right questions to the society, to the lawyer, to the PMC, and
of
to the
course, the
developer.
awareness now is much more than ever before because they see so many such cases around,
And the
There are
media is so
people-
powerful.
and
It keeps reporting.
yeah, the awareness. But even after that, I still see people falling into the ditch.
Next time you see Bobby one such society, send my book to them.
Yeah.
54 legal secrets before you sign redevelopment agreement, and I am there to help them.
When it comes to these investments and when you're managing people's funds and being a fund manager, like I said, like a large number of people have burned their
Yeah.
hands because of which, they don't want to get into it. I'm one of them. So I've lost faith in, knowing many of them who do that, who've not really given the kind of returns that they had promised in the beginning. They come, they'll sign up, they'll take the money, and many of them are companies also, large organizations, and they're just doing their job. As you were saying that they need to do the checklist, have so much amount of turnover and clients they've got in a year. So how do all these companies, they grow and they're able to scale up there? Or have I been unlucky where I see so many failed investments in your story? Now, the fact that, on an average, if you were to look, have you been able to give positive growth to all your clients who trust you in with their investments?
Yeah, so positive to all my clients for sure. But see, there are some principles on investment, which everybody should remember, irrespective of whom they are working with.
Because, as you said, right question, because someone who's going to start talking to someone
Yeah,
and that guy across is selling him a dream,
yeah.
what is he supposed to check?
Yeah, so the first thing is that, there is the most important principle of finance is higher return takes you higher risk. So anytime somebody is promising you a higher return, you have to be doubly cautious and ask him the question that what is the risk of me not getting this? What is the risk of I getting lower amount, and what is the risk of I losing the capital? Right? So these are very important questions because, and also you have to understand how investments work. So you would have your real estate as an asset class, which is going to be illiquid. You will have your rental yields from residential properties around 2.5-3% in Mumbai, from offices around 7%, from showrooms around 4.5-5%, warehouse is a little higher. So these are broad benchmarks in terms of how real estate works. So if you're finding somebody around that bracket, if it's a good location, A-class builder, pre-leased property, you know that at least on the financial tick box it is right. When you look at equity as an investment class, you have startup investment as the most, most riskiest investment because they are just building the business. But the return on that is exponential. So you should put only that much amount of money in a startup investment, which you are okay to lose from your balance sheet. Doesn't make a lot of impact to you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at listed equity as a space, so India is growing at around 6-7%, right,
Okay.
as a GDP level. So when we say 6-7%, this is real income. It means it is not accounting for inflation. India generally inflation is around 4-5%. So effectively, as a country, we are growing at 11%. in terms of with the inflation. So when there are companies which are listed on the stock market, this 11% is including agriculture and all of other industries which are not growing that fast. So listed companies should be expected to grow around 12 to 13 or 12 to 15%. So any amount of money that you put in a listed equity, you should have an idea that I should make at least 12 to 15% because that's the space. Because valuation of equity is derived by profits. So if profits are going to grow by 12 to 15%, effectively in a long-term scenario, when you look at 5-7 years, your money should also be growing at 12 to 15%. So most important is that you understand what are those benchmark returns and you align your expectations around it. People who would generally fail a lot are those who have, I sit with a lot of family businesses where, there is the older generation and the younger generation. And the first question the younger generation asks is, what is the ROI on this? Before even understanding what the investment is and what the risk in the investment, he is more interested in ROI. So I tell them that, in maths, we used to have a formula for compound interest, which we call the eighth wonder of the world. Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, right? So that is P1 plus R upon 100 raised to N, right? So in simple terms, R is one of the factors where everybody is fascinated about. Where you make massive wealth is by P, which is, the amount that you put in consistently into investment, and N, which is the number of years. So I always say that don't try to time the market, give time to the market. So if you stay longer in a market with your investment, you're bound to make longer returns. In times like COVID, when your investment goes down and you feel panic and you come out, and in times of euphoria, you put in money, which those two emotions of greed and fear are always there in investments. So when things are so good, you become greedy, you want to put all that money in the asset class. Like everybody wanted to put money in gold when gold was at 1,40,000. And, people wanted to come out of equity when COVID was bad. So if you're able to manage your emotions, if you're okay with certain benchmark returns, I think anybody good will be able to give you the returns. Don't just chase for returns, give time to your investment and have a philosophy on your investment. I believe that nobody is an expert who can tell you that this mutual fund, this stock will do well. There are very few people who have this ability. And if people have that ability, they would rather multiply their money than selling their services to others, is my principle, right? So because if I am able to, multiply my money double every year, then I would rather double every year for me rather than going out.
Right.
So the idea is that everybody is trying to figure out. So it is very important that we have a very good diversification strategy. Our diversification should be a little into real estate. If real estate looks a very illiquid as an asset class, you have REITs as an investment class. REITs are, REITs like Embassy, REITs like Mindspace, Brookfield, or good companies wherein you get rental yields of 6.5% coming into your bank account every quarter, and then every time you want a liquidity, you can sell. So they are managing the office space, they are managing the tenants.
It's better than buying a real asset.
Yeah, and this appreciates because every 3 years, lease rentals are going to
When
go.
I see, you're talking about 2.5% return in Indian, say residential market or 5% in commercial real estate. Isn't 2.5% too less?
It's too less, but
And still people are doing it.
So what people have
And
seen.
when you compare this with, in the international markets, in the Western world, they're looking at much higher returns.
Yeah. If you look at Dubai,
Yeah.
Dubai, you would have at least 7-8% coming in the residential market. But you have to see asset class not only from the returns on the rental yield, but also on the appreciation. Right? So,
Yes.
Right? So historically, residences have appreciated faster than.
Now that's kind of happened in Bombay, but when you look at markets like Bangalore, Calcutta, some parts of Delhi, I haven't really seen it. Even the asset value increase.
Yeah.
So then why are they doing this?
Some people understand some asset classes better. As an investor, sometimes I feel that physical asset which I can feel, with a lock and key and I have a tenant is a better
It's
asset
a
class.
tangible asset.
The earlier generation believed in gold, which right now seems to be the most intelligent, right? Because it was a very non-trust society. Even in the equity market, you had non-governed companies, bogus companies. So people felt it's better to hold gold with me, at least I'm sure. But right now, our grandmothers look to be the most intelligent investors the way gold
Right.
has run, right?
Right.
Similarly, some people have a feel that they want to have a touch and feel thing. They don't know what money lies in my demat account. Even if it is crores of shares, they are not very comfortable. So it's also some personal preferences. But as a philosophy, I think you should have diversification. You should have equity. You should have high risk assets. You are now a big class of assets for people who have good amount of money like the HNIs is also investing in other businesses, which is what maybe Angelo
Yes.
Rajesh also does, because that sometimes can give you exponential returns.
Right.
But I'm sure there is a bucket of amount that you keep aside for that. So you have a bucket for liquid listed. In listed, you may have large cap, mid cap, small cap, PMS. You have a real estate bucket. So you're managing your wealth as a bucket rather than trying to take a chance. What is it that is good for the next 3 years and putting everything there?
When you look at Dubai and say US or Europe as in property investments and they're getting higher return on investment, why is it that we don't get the same in India?
So Dubai predominantly, it's my opinion, has been a very volatile asset class. When things go bad or had
So right
gone,
now things must be pretty bad, no?
we hear that the prices have not gone so bad because there are a lot of people who want to buy a property as bad prices. Because last time it had gone bad, the capital values had eroded by 30-40%. So people have those notions like, Bombay, people have not seen erosion of property value. You find Pune as a value, where property prices have gone down. So every city has a personality, and those.
So why is it in the West that it's far more stable?
I think appreciation in West is not as much as the appreciation in India or the metro cities that you find, because here still a lot of people need to get homes. There a lot of people already have homes, so you will have stability, you will have good rentals, but the capital values generally don't rise as much than in cities which are expanding, cities which are growing, where people are wanting to move from 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom, 2 bedroom to 3 bedroom. There is a lot of social mobility which is happening.
Which are the other cities other than Bombay where you've seen growth in
Hyderabad
property
has
value?
grown phenomenally well.
Yeah? Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
And again, you were talking about brand. I see that, I also work with companies which are into high-end brands, and I find that Gurgaon, Delhi and Hyderabad, these are two markets
Best
which would
performance.
spend on brands much more than, Mumbai, where Mumbai is still a little early on the brand market. Hyderabad has performed well. We see a little cooling happening there, but the prices there appreciated pretty well.
With this whole AI industry, AI scene coming in and it affecting the tech industry, the software business, which Hyderabad greatly depended on,
Yeah.
hoping, right? Again, I know many of my clients who own big buildings, commercial buildings. They have quite a few floors which are empty now,
Yeah.
Right.
because they had taken four floors and now they're happy with one floor.
Right,
And this has mainly happened, I think, is because of AI.
right.
So what happens to Hyderabad? Because they developed that whole city with the plan, keeping in mind that this whole techie, software industry is going to come and fill up all the spaces.
All reconciliation will happen now.
Reconciliate.
For
And
some
every
reason,
time,
for
in a
one-
cycle,
There was a period when one industry gave growth to the country. Now there will be a period where that growth is going to get restricted and reduced,
yeah.
like IT.
But we find a lot of GCCs coming in Hyderabad. Like GCCs, all big company want to have their global capability center,
Yes.
Okay.
Hyderabad, Bangalore. So
It will be replaced. IT will be replaced with some
somewhere
other
there
segment.
is some, yeah.
Simple.
And every time there is a big high for anything, there is always a correction. So I think
Do you see industry taking again center stage like the olden days right now?
Manufacturing will take a center
Everything is
stage.
very soft and service oriented, and
Man-
manufacturing is not.
Now it is going to take.
manufacturing definitely.
So
in my
when
opinion,
is that? That
Started.
should be one's bread and butter. End of the day,
Yeah,
for any
yeah.
civilization to flourish when you make things,
But that has started now. for India.
tangible, products.
Like China was considered to be the factory of the world. Now
Yes.
that title is moving towards India.
I hope so. Yeah. Okay.
the intention is there, right? And we see a lot of grit in the entrepreneurs. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, and I always see that in India, entrepreneurs grow business in spite of government, not because of the government.
Oh yeah.
Right, so-
we are greatly successful is because of the will. The
Yeah.
power of the will of our own.
Yeah.
The Indians.
So I think a lot of good action is happening here. We will see. I am a eternal optimist.
Yes.
So,
So am I.
so I think we'll see some world class manufacturing coming out of India. Some great brands coming out of India.
Lovely.
Great.
So with that, we come to the conclusion of a very lovely session. And friends, this is the Table Talks at Santé. Thanks for being with us along the show and watching this content. You can post your comments and views, reviews and opinions in the comments below. We'll get back to you again. And if you are an entrepreneur in any walk of life, and if you want to be a part of the Table Talks at Santé, do write to us and we will make sure that from the people who get selected, they will come onto a table at Santé, and we'll have this conversation with you as well. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for being here with me on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Had a good time.
Thanks a lot.
Good talk.
Thank you.